random Wikipedia article and you're trying to get to the subject you wanted to talk
Thanks,
about.
Anto. I didn't have
Wikipedia.
any audio on there at all. Yeah.
Oh. Whoops.
Whoopsie.
Let's get
All
on,
right.
shall we?
It's been a week,
So-
okay?
It's been 2 weeks.
It's been a week.
For 2 weeks,
2
folks.
weeks.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks. But hey, luckily for you, I've actually been prepping for this.
I'm out.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
Dead.
We're out of here. No.
And enter campaign is coming with a TPK. Here we go.
Yep.
I mean, there's always a chance, Mitch. I have to break out the binder again. It's been ages.
It's been 2 weeks.
It has been too long.
Thank you for the resub, Mikey.
You're welcome.
So, last week
Goddamn
we
it,
ended
dogs.
off. Yeah, last week we ended off with
2
you,
weeks.
or last game we ended off with all of you, teleporting into the war camp that Vogue was in, that the Kalan military had coalesced into.
Rivallon has a date.
Before that, yes, I was getting to that. Before
Okay.
that, we had a pretty heartwarming and interesting session where everybody was kind of, I guess, pairing up. A lot of pairing up happening. A proposal occurred. Buying of random components occurred. It was mostly just, taking care of loose ends.
Isaac
Session,
finally
everybody
found
was
his
very
one
good.
true love.
The crazy necromancer lady.
No.
A library.
No.
A library.
It was the dais in the library.
Yes, Isaac found love in a computer. That sounds exactly like my life. D&D's meant to be escapism.
This escapism just got way too fucking real.
Jesus
Damn.
Christ. So,
Jesus, Midge. Fuck me.
wow. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, Mikey just said, fuck me. That means it
went-
must be Tuesday.
Must be Tuesday. Fuck shit.
Must be
balls.
Tuesday.
Yeah, that's me every day of the week.
Tuesday language.
Yay!
Yay! So you all went through that, and then found yourself, you teleported into Vogue's camp. We ended off with you, no issues from that. You just teleported in, without coalescing inside a tent or partially in the ground.
Inside Vogue.
Yeah, that episode of Star Trek with the lady saying, yeah, yeah, and telling Vogue that you wanted to speak with him alone, out of public, because you were in the middle of a war camp. You were surrounded by tents for quite a long ways in this kind of the weather was it was early morning, kind of misty, wet terrain that you appeared in, and he obliged, took you into his, what looks to be his staff tent. It's a large tent. It's got a big table in the center of it with some candles here and there to allow some of the light to be even throughout the day. Nobody else was in there at the time. There's just a big map of his country, or what used to be his country, on it. And he's looking at your group. Also you don't have any of your mounts, but for Ustinia's and Rivallon's and Sessions.
Yeah.
Were the three that you took.
Yep.
And then you also brought Sala as well. But you
Rivallon's future ex-wife.
I
Get
didn't
those
say it,
expectations
so yeah.
So yeah, you go, you follow him in, and he looks much the same in a lot of ways. The last time you saw him, his wound is healed. He's no longer obviously bleeding. It's been a couple of weeks, but he looks tired, as if he hasn't had much sleep over the last one. There's a lot of dark rings under his eyes, and if he could, he does look like he has gotten whiter in his hair and beard. Color is sapped slightly away.
Stress.
But he looks at you expectantly. You told him you needed to speak alone.
We also asked Bosch to come as well, didn't
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
he
sent
sends.
the boy.
Yeah, he's been sent off for. Well,
I sended him.
yeah. Do we want to wait for someone else? Or...
I think we'll wait for Bosch. Just
Well,
because he'll
whilst
want to
we're
hear
waiting-
everything.
Whilst we're waiting, I'm gonna try and scry on Commander Volred.
Good luck with that.
Good idea.
Okay. You don't have a part of him, so that's.
No, but I
Fine.
did a picture, and I'm gonna check it with Sana to see if it's still a reasonable likeness.
I think you've done this before. She passed off on the picture. So yeah, you just that means your DC is. Sorry, I'm trying to find the page that I'm looking for here. Scrying. Tell me, by the way, if anything's off about your spells or having access to anything, because for some reason all the modules were unlisted when I loaded this in yesterday.
Oh.
I put them back on, but I didn't know if hopefully no problem there. So
We
you
can
know the
reactivate them in the library anyway.
yeah. So +0 for knowing the target because you don't know them very well. You just know them. You've met.
Tried
you
to
do have
kill
the
them a couple
pictures.
of times.
Yeah, you have a picture which is -2 on that. Oh, it's a save. So it's
Yeah. DC
Wisdom
15
saving.
-2. So DC 20?
15
Oh, is it?
minus
It's
2.
So he makes a roll and then we minus from his roll, don't we?
Yeah, so it's still DC 15. I just need to find full rid stat.
It has been a while since we got in a tussle with him, so.
Actually, no, I would say that it's actually the save modifier because having secondhand adds 5, knowing them well at -5. So it's just so it goes from a 15 down to a 13 because you have a picture to succeed. Or for that to. The target must make a wisdom saving throw, which is modified by how well you know the target. And the connection with the target knows you very well. Okay, so full red. I've got a lot of frickin' Commander Volred will go on. Okay, saving throw.
shit. Fuck
Minus
balls.
2. -2. That was a 21. So he beat it
He beat
by a
it.
lot.
Never mind.
So you try, you reach out, but there's a veil of magic that stops you from being able to truly look and see him.
Like last time.
Yep.
Yep.
Damn.
Got a bit
Okay.
of a better bonus than he used to. So, is there anything you'd like to do while you wait? Because it's a large camp and you've sent for a old researcher.
I'm gonna. What's it's Hasland is his first name again, isn't it, folks?
Mhm.
Aslan
Yeah.
Vogue.
Hasland. What's the sit rep? How are things?
Well, see, it's been so long since I've done his voice. I actually forgotten if he had an accent or not. I'm
Don't
just
worry
gonna
about it. Just go with it.
It's been
Just
2
gonna
weeks.
go with it.
Fine. It's fine.
It's been several months since you've talked with folk.
Since we talked to him face to face, anyway.
Yeah. Trying to find his stat sheet because I wrote one up for him, but fuck it. Okay. So yeah, he contemplates for a second. It's been things haven't been going well. Since you left, we've been on the back foot. I've been gathering men and material from the disparate orders and trying to slow them down, but it hasn't been going well.
And I
The
imagine
long and
the
short of it.
political situation hasn't improved either.
Have you recovered any more units?
Quite a few. We are currently, due to finding a few of the orders that were deployed to the northern stretches of our nation, we've been able to call them back, so they're part of the army now. Politically, I guess maybe did I not print this one out? This is God damn it. Clan Dynasty, Stellaris. Just trying, because I need to find the name of the girl. And also, yes, it was Haslin Vogue. That was his first name.
It had been a while since I'd called him by his first name, so I wanted to be sure
Yeah,
first.
it doesn't happen a lot.
No.
It does not happen a lot. Shoulder to shoulder. Branches. There we go. Got it. Sorry, I just needed to get this right up. My file structure's a little messed up right now. Politically, where things are in flux around the nation, I'm currently the highest ranking general still alive, as far as I know, or at least not in captivity.
Congratulations.
It's not something I'm happy to be leading, but politically, there is a little bit of hope. One member of the royal family has been located.
Who's that?
That would be. Hold on a second. I just lost her. There's just a shitload of names in the dynasty's family tree.
Too many names, man.
So it's more
There's
of Dynasty
that and all-
Twig now.
Yeah, no, it's also the fact that they all have these pretentious fucking names because that's their deal.
That's their
So it's
team.
always-
All double
that's-
barreled first names in madness.
Yeah, it's well,
It's a quadruple barreled second name and a six barreled
Yeah.
first name.
yeah. Remember, there was one guy that was just named Nassar Ahmad Kalan the 10th. Like there was,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
yeah, you know,
he
they
was a
had
twat.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Nassar. No, it was Naila Adleth
Arif.
Kalan the third. Adleth Kalan the third. She was the young 15-year-old girl that I think some of you interacted with her during the party. One of you did. I
think I
forget which
did.
one.
I
Yeah.
think it was
Yeah.
me.
She
I
was
poured
found.
wine and over someone. I not intention myself, but what's it called?
You made her feel
I-
better about herself. You gave her-
Yeah, to her and the younger guy as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, there was a young man as well. But yeah, no, she was found sometime later, having escaped. She's currently being protected by a detachment of my men in an undisclosed location.
That's good to hear. How's the civilian population? Did many of them make it out?
Dunlas? No. And not many of the other cities that have been taken.
How
Hmm.
many cities have been taken so far?
Most of the south is gone, and most of the coastal cities along the Strait of Roses has also been taken. which
mean
is
Strait
the
of Flowers,
reason.
by the way,
Strait
Roach?
of Flowers, yes,
Yeah.
Strait of Flowers. Sorry.
That's okay.
Mog
not-
just
there isn't-
quietly walks out the tent and stands outside for a bit.
There is an Isle of Roses in the Strait of Flowers as well. That's where I was
Ah.
getting confused. Strait of Flowers, yes. Most of those, most of the south. Currently, we're just south of Bear Hollow.
And what about the Athranian and Osnia? Have either of those empires reacted in any way?
Not that I know of. Nobody's sent anything. They haven't come over the borders that are now unprotected because we've pulled our northern borders out of.
Well, I won't
Their
lie to you,
defenses.
Haviland. I'm pretty sure they want you guys to wear them down and leave you guys here to rot.
Not to mention the Arthurians, for example, have a small revolution going on in certain areas. But that's besides the point.
Have something to do with that? Make my job
No.
harder?
Nope, nothing. In fact, if we were here to hopefully make your job
A little easier.
easier.
Well, you'd have to be doing some sort of miracle.
How do you feel about
Right.
killing a god?
Honestly, not too good. That doesn't. I don't think that's something.
Let's. give-
Honestly, I don't think anybody's prepared for that.
Well, that's what we're preparing to do. So
Right now, though, we're in a bit of a pickle. We have nowhere else to go.
this is it.
This is it. There's this valley turns over a map where there's a whole bunch of X's on cities and settlements on the map of the country, and then he turns the map over, and there's a map of a valley that looks somewhat similar to the one you were looking at. It's a top-down view military map, very muted colors that mark it as something that's not meant for like
General use.
public, like general usage.
Mhm.
Just hold on a second. I gotta make sure that this thing is correctly labeled before I.
Mog's come back in.
Give Mog a pat on the shoulder.
So that's where we are.
Yep, just hold on a second. I will share it because you're gonna be using this map for the next
Oh.
little bit.
Ooh, we get a map.
Oh,
So you
do we
should
get to lay out
see
the
in your-
fences?
You see an image that just popped up called the Valley of Ash.
Your internet's going to trash, Roach. Give it a second while it loads. The Vale of Ash
The valley.
Valley. Yep, there it is. I see it, and it has popped in.
might need me.
Wasn't there in some of my research something? I swear, in the very bad rolls I got, there was something about ash.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was a mention of Ash at some point.
Yeah. Hot damn. This is it. This is it, folks.
So what you see is what you see, but it's a valley that leads in, that has two ways in and two ways out. The roadway that goes that skirts around the mouth of it. There's large kind of hills and quasi mountains covering the eastern side of the valley, and just two small farming complexes near the bottom of its structure.
I don't imagine there's very many in the way of wounded. I imagine there's a lot of dead being left behind.
We haven't gotten into a I haven't gotten into a major engagement. We've been avoiding it. And just so I can put it down here, that's where Vogue's camp is located.
And I assume the lighter, the deeper we get into the valley, or is it the opposite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the darker colors are the peaks.
And where does this leave? And Sesh points along where the sort of two peaks are, and then they go off the map. There's like the two darker colors, the thinner one in the middle, on the right hand side of the map.
That's a way deeper into the mountains.
And what's the terrain there like?
Hilly, rocky, uneven.
A nightmare to attack is what you're saying?
Oh, nightmare to traverse
Unless you're
with
flying.
an organized army.
Not very good.
Okay.
You've had more experience now fighting these invaders. Are they? What's their tactical lineup? Is it mainly infantry? I know they have the dragons, but they can't have an endless supply of them. Are they using cavalry of any type? What are we up against here?
Salah, do you know
Actually-
as well?
Yeah, I was about to say, we have someone who might know more.
I know quite a bit. Of the dragons, there's only going to be a small selection. The Outriders were never a large group. And doctrinally, they're not supposed to be concentrated. They're Outriders. They harass. That's about what we've observed as well. Tactically, we've seen infantry with those weapons massed in lines when they try to present for a stand-up engagement. Small units of cavalry, mixed, light, maybe equivalent of hussars. Think like a hussar, like a very light cavalry force.
Like a yeoman?
Not many. Yes. Not many of them. Maybe a unit or two. The majority of their force. And they've broken into two components and were able to outflank us. The northern road is blocked away from us, and the southern road is blocked from us as well. We are stuck.
How are you for supplies? Out, I take it.
We have enough to last for a few days.
Medical supplies?
About the same. Then transporting via wagons. We have plenty of those. Troop-wise, in terms of numbers, we're, as far as my counters have found, near parity in terms of numbers, but their advantage in arms has made me doubt the usefulness of that.
When did your scouts last see them? How far away?
Best estimates, if the weather holds, 2 days, 3, maybe.
They've Napoleoned us.
Any natural choke points in the terrain?
As you can see here, there's a small hill that reaches out from the one mouth of the valley that's near the roadway, and then a smaller hill in the midpoint, and hills kind of bracket the whole roadway. It's possible to...
Simple no would have sufficed.
There's nothing that can be very easily made. Farms may give them some semblance of It may slow them down. The one out near the crossroads is a walled complex, fairly large wall.
And your forces, mainly men-at-arms?
Yes, we have a selection of mixed cavalry we've been able to bring together, mixture of knights and sergeant-at-arms on horseback. Mostly levies and men who have been brought in. Good, a good number. Selection of archers, longbows. Small detachment of men armed with the weapons that Gnome was able to build for us.
Rivals regulars are still going.
There are currently 200 of them that have been brought together, but
Oh, so you've trained more then?
they've trained themselves. They've been gathering people from villages we passed through, or have passed through. Though the gnome that was building the equipment has been cut off now from the north, so he can't bring equipment. He can't bring any more with him. So we are stuck with the numbers that we're at. He broke off for a supply run, apparently. Lots of sulfur needed or something.
Okay.
And
It's
what about
frustrating,
Sorry, what was that?
No, I'm thinking out loud here. Never mind.
Has Bosch arrived?
Yes.
Hey,
I guess we
Bosch.
should get to
How are you, Professor Bosch? How are you doing?
Sorry, for some reason my roles were public. Bosch arrives. He looks about what you'd expect. He looks like he's been on the road for a while, but no, he doesn't look as frazzled. He's a bit more
I hand him
hardened.
over his pay.
How much is that?
Like, what do we say?
was
Like,
it 2 gold a day or something?
I think it was about a gold a day, I think.
Yeah.
A gold a day. That's been since Invasion Day.
I day.
Or
It's been
I
about
day.
3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I day.
I swear to God, I'm
Reclamation
gonna
day.
do something.
It's been 20 days.
20
Okay,
gold.
I'm gonna hand him 45 gold.
45 gold. Okay, he takes it. Thank you.
Your
I-
payment for being on retainer to us,
Yes.
and a little bit extra
I could
because
tell.
we
Heavy.
Right.
Take a seat, Bosch. You're going to have your mind blown
Again.
Well, before then, we're going to have our minds linked because I want this conversation to be as private as possible. And,
Haslam, this might be a bit weird.
and I get out my little eggshells, and I've got an eggshell for each of you, and then 2 spares. I say, put it to the touch it to your head. And yes, I do know what type of eggs you all have. And I cast Rory's telepathic bond. And then the first thing I say in my mind in the bond is, no one can hear us. We've got this for an hour.
Missed out on
like a-
test. 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I thought that was gonna be. It was gonna be a little tapping noise.
Welcome to the Mog
Feedback.
Big
Gotta
Phone,
be reworked.
the communication service. The number you have called is unable to take your call.
Please press 1 to leave a voicemail.
Welcome to TCL, Telepathic Conferencing Limited.
Right. And before
Or
we
it's the
start, I'm
Skype
going to
noise.
scratch behind Betty's neck and say, go and see if you can find
Skype
them.
noise with flutes.
To re-record your message, key hash at any time.
So you touch
No.
the back of Betty's neck. You pat her, and
Go and see if you can find them. The invading force.
okay. Betty does have a. All right. Okay.
No, I've. It's basically if she because she's up high, she might be able to see something.
Oh, for reference, by the way, because I did say it has been 2 weeks. It's a low fog ceiling. It's overcast, and it's a low cloud ceiling, overcast, and fog is on the ground. So it's just cold, kind of wet area. So
Okay,
it'd be
leave
hard.
it then, because she's not going to see anything.
I mean, it's up to you. You could, I would just say if you're doing that, maybe like tell her like a timetable to come back on or something like that. If it's if you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But okay. Yeah. So you're all connected telepathically. Not new for any of you.
So we found it. We found the Tomb of the Champions.
I produce
Oh.
the spear.
I just turn around and go, yeah.
And we have been granted by them and their spirits 2 weapons, which are imbued with the power that could possibly kill Zagul, the god that has been tampering with this invasion force and is currently feeding them, so to speak, and guiding them.
Did you get
I have some
Rubbings and
rubbings
stuff,
for
yeah.
you.
sketches,
and
rubbings?
I have these rubbings for you. In my I pulled from the bag.
I have
also
these
have
sketches.
this beautiful.
Do you
I
have
also
a
this
map
beautiful-
2 there again?
Do you want to go to
But
the
we have
Underdark?
transportation there. When
Do you-
all this
we-
is over,
if we-
I'll take you.
Yeah, if we get out of this alive, I am going to take you there. Here is the seal that closed the tomb. I kept this for you as well, the clay seal. And I was hoping maybe we could write a book together.
Several books, yes.
But
After we save the world, Isaac.
theorize that these weapons should be able to turn the tide if we defeat Zugul.
The
Because if we fail here, Zagul might walk the plane again. And if Zagul walks the plane again, they all walk the plane again. And no nation state is going to survive the wrath of the gods walking the earth again. So, we need to get in stabbing range of the High Priestess of the Invasion Fleet.
Or would it be forward? Because he's her champion.
No, it's the High Priestess, I believe.
I
The
mean, I wouldn't
one
mind
that you
stabbing
saw in your
Volrent
vision.
either, so
Well, forward.
if the option's there.
Well, Volred will need a good stabbing too.
Yeah, if the option's
But he-
there, I'll take it.
He's a mere glory hound. It is the High Priestess that is the one that's being set up for this ritual.
Yes.
So, Herr Bosch, in any of your researches, have you ever seen anything regarding a ritual that would bring a god back to the mortal plane?
I don't want to seem like I'm limited and unhelpful, but I mean, my area of expertise wasn't necessarily magical in nature. I don't. That seems like something you.
I
would,
start thinking back to the murals and the story that we got from the murals that we also took the rubbings off and start putting these pictures to Bosch. And the whole, and I'm trying to convey the whole. No, I don't want to go as deep into what the spirits told us, but I want to detail him the story of what happened to the champions, and try to see if he can reinforce if we've got our target right, essentially.
Right. Amazing. I don't know what I could say to help. It's you. I'm not sure. I don't. It's not my
That's
area. I don't. Yes, I'm not. The
I meant no natural 20s from him today.
it's a it's very it's a very it's unknown time. It's a lot of unknowns there that are hard to that are very hard to kind of work through. It would take ages to understand. I'm sorry.
The champions were also under the influence of Zagul when they crossed the Sunset Mountains.
Right.
Underneath it, to further your theory.
And that was
Okay.
the anniversary, like you've already told us. Oh, that is a good question. The anniversary, when is it?
Of
Of
The-
Yaren being kicked off the continent.
that would have been in the time of the invasion when they came in. That would be that time.
Okay.
Yes, the High Priestess as well. I'm just going. This is just open to the party. This is just a thing, just a clarification thing. Isn't the High Priestess a descendant of Yaren? Didn't we find that out?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Granddaughter
Yeah.
or something.
She's got his ring.
Yeah. She got
Yeah,
Yaren's
that's
ring.
it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes. Sala confirms that.
And the whole sort of thing with the champions is that unlike
And
every other gift Segul gives out, she takes it back by removing their eye. But the champions never passed on, unlike other people that she has influenced, which is why these, and she holds up the spear and looks at the sword that Rivallon has, are the only physical representations of Zagul's power on this plane, which makes them specifically designed, or I wouldn't say specifically designed, but have a very powerful inkling towards killing her, or at the very least stopping an avatar of her from forming.
All right.
And I believe that this pitched battle that we are about to undertake is the final stage of said ritual. On a field of blood, she will be reborn. But in the process of her being reborn, it's the only time we can get to kill her. Because she needs to be on the plane physically for us to banish her once more.
Oh, well, it sounds like we have to fight.
Now, Sala, you're probably one of the better people to help us with this, considering your own background.
If you want to. I don't think we should force you into doing this.
Very true.
I have nowhere else to go.
You can just leave.
And
Go where? Yeah, okay.
I mean, hey, it's a big continent.
See the world before it's too late.
Destroyed.
But
And
I just don't.
she's-
I don't like feeling like we're forcing you into this, Sala. They are your people, after all.
The Dominion isn't a old order. It's a recent thing on my continent that has conquered all of the component kingdoms in the name of this reclamation. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for being recruited for the Outriders.
Well, let's just get it straight. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mogwith and Isaac being stupid and not being able to keep their mouths shut when interrogating someone.
It was mostly Margaret.
It was
there's
meant
a
for me.
large chain of events that at any point I wouldn't be here. But for the only people that join the Outriders are the devoted, the deranged, or the desperate. And I was desperate.
I'd
No
cover
comment.
2 of those areas, I'd like to point out.
Well,
If you're asking about my recommendations or what's going to happen when they try and attack this valley,
Yes, please.
Does it involve the word
They've all-
slaughter?
they've already got you surrounded on the major thoroughfares in and out of the valley. Normal procedure would be to try and enact a devil envelopment of the enemy force, try and limit their ability to retreat, defeat them in detail. The edges of the valley won't allow that on a grand scale, so they have to do it in smaller unit actions. They'll be forced to deploy into line and to attack. You're at a disadvantage in most things. But tactical doctrine is very rigid, and most of the officers aren't very creative on the field. They'll follow orders.
so do the unexpected.
That's useful. That helps, doesn't it, Vogue?
It's something.
Considering your
found that-
tactical creativity, I think it's a good thing to know.
And also, we've discovered an even in our smaller engagements, and I believe this will scale up. Disrupting their lines is a key to success. They are most effective when they can point volley after volley into us. If we can break up their lines, it breaks up their ability to hit us.
And officers, take out anyone wearing any kind of officer garb you see.
Kill the officers, then the sergeants, and then kill any damn buggy you like.
He phrases it very bluntly, but very accurately.
It doesn't help the situation, though, because it doesn't matter whose blood fills that field.
True, but I would prefer we have more men on our side. Makes
The
it a little
thing is,
easier.
though, they have to win still for the Ghoul's champion to live.
To claim vengeance.
Oh.
The active
Um,
like we're
okay,
going
in
to
which
be-
case, what does the champion want for vengeance?
Champion.
The Zagul's avatar wants to beat
Yes.
the dynasty because they're a descendant of Yaren. They're going to claim vengeance for Yaren.
So are they going to go
That
after
would
the
be
girl?
the act of vengeance complete.
So
Possibly.
where's the girl?
Girls in a undisclosed location.
Vogue,
Far
if we
to the
haven't
north.
proved our loyalty by now, I'm gonna, I may as well just start shooting your own men, because basically you're asking us to fight a war for you that we're not gonna win.
Well, here's the thing. This battle needs to go on long enough that we can find the head of the snake to cut it off. Have you ever read the Bardic Tales?
Oh god, don't go
of
down the
Harry
bard route.
Potter?
I will kill you.
About a young wizard boy in a faraway land.
Midge, not
That's
all of
all
us grew up in a
nonsense.
fucking church, man.
The final battle. Spoiler alert.
For a book
Was
that
it-
came out nearly
Which
20 something
revision?
years
There's
ago.
like 30 revisions. They keep adding things to the
Was
characters.
a delaying action. Whilst a secondary goal was achieved.
If you need to know, she is in Osnia. She has a cousin that is a minor lord there. That's not known to the Osnian government. Just
Well,
to the
that's a
local-
bit spicy, isn't it?
It's the local
What's-
lord.
Well, I don't think they particularly care about whose land it is.
No,
I need two
But nobody-
volunteers who have no problem with dying.
no, but thing is, nobody outside of this tent knows.
That's
That
why I need
she's
two
even
volunteers who
alive
have no problems in
right
dying.
now.
What's your plan?
What is your plan? And they would. You have a telepathic link. So, what are the brain images coming over that link right now?
Basically, we send two riders out ostensibly to gain favor with the locals. They get captured, they get tortured, they give up that the princess is here.
This is a shit plan.
And I'm fed
want
up
to
of
agree with
Estenia
Estenia.
saying,
As-
basically calling every plan I ever have shit.
Not
We want
every
them to
plan.
attack.
Not every plan.
Yes, every plan.
As
I,
far as I know from our scouts, they are coming. We are the only organized force in the country still standing.
Also, as
We're
far
not-
as far as we're aware, they don't care realistically when they kill.
For
The
for
leaders.
the for
They
the
just want
ritual as
all
well,
the land back.
they need the field of blood. It's a part of the Zagul ritual, so they
Yeah, they
have
don't
to
need
engage.
to kill the leadership. They just need to kill a load of people in a field somewhere. And this
Right,
place
and you're
qualifies.
saying they haven't killed a lot of people in a field somewhere between the last 3 weeks?
General
Hasn't engaged in a-
Hazlitt has been
we-
saying there's been very little in the actual way of engagement. It's been a lot of skirmishing.
And we've been actively avoiding a major engagement until I can marshal forces into a single unit. We were able to do that a few days ago before they were able to lock us away inside this valley.
And civilian deaths?
Far as I know, the deaths have been relatively minor. They haven't been culling cities.
I don't
Other
think
than
they care
Stunlas.
for the civilians. They
No,
want
they go
the leadership
Mm.
dead and
it's
everyone involved
conquest.
in it.
They want the land. Why ruin it?
Yeah, why kill the people who are going to work your fields? You know?
It sounds to me like we need to burn the midnight oil and start planning a defense for the valley.
Well, I think you're right.
All right. Let's do that then.
Well, I think we should.
The lights
Before we-
drop.
Yeah,
Goes
before
into
we. It's like a selection screen and it pans into the map.
I'm just imagining
Selection
war
screen.
rooms in the
Selection screen, you just see dressed up 18th century officers just doing the fighter thing, but they're
Yeah, there's
just
like the standard animation. Like one of them has like there's like some of them with like a sword. Yeah, it's just that. It's like they're holding a sword and they're like, "All right, where do you want your
like an
man
Abraham
lying?"
Lincoln's one of the unlocked characters, and he has an axe, and he's just
Yeah, yep. There's like a tier 3 hunter from Hunt Showdown
Sherman's
in the
got
background.
fireballs.
Yeah, totally.
They're all just doing like their signature move, what they shout,
Shirtless.
their signature move, like
Yes,
Shirtless Douglas MacArthur that was just too ripped for some reason.
Abe
Yeah.
Lincoln's with the axe going, emancipation!
Yeah.
Sherman's got the fireballs. Georgia.
That's really good, Roach. That's really all right. So I think
So,
we
yeah.
need to set up a last line in this escape route out towards the mountains because
Mm.
if we need to fall back to somewhere, at least they'll have a hard time getting to us.
So here's what's gonna happen. So, because I developed
Panning
a
to the
system.
selection screen. Let's
I
go.
developed a system for this. You have a few days, 2 days at the minimum, 3 days at the max to get this started, to get this planned out. You have a limited number of things that can be done during a day. So you're gonna have to prioritize what you want to do. There are trees that can be used to make some things if you would like. Rolls will be required on marshaling forces together to make that happen. You have an option of building fortifications, building traps, training troops, and what was the last one? Building fortifications, traps, train troops, and increase morale. Each day.
Okay.
Okay. And I will be the arbiter of what you can get done in a day and how that will affect the coming engagement. You can each do something. So you've got 5 actions that you can do.
Can I
So
also
let's-
spend 10 minutes a day just trying to scry on Volred?
Yeah, this doesn't take your entire day. This is more just like the you can't like you're not this is going to be like long-term things you need to do during a day. So if you needed to like, oh, I'm going to cast a spell during the day, or I'm going to talk with somebody or have a RP moment or something like that, that's fine. But you won't be able to do something like enchant an armor piece, because that would be something you'd have to do like all day or something like that. You're just doing this. So the valley, it is a gentle curve for the most part, but once it gets to the topmost elevations, it kind of goes up into rocky heights. So there's no way to get over the tops of the valley. It's like it goes from like gentle grass to rock face pretty quickly. In here, there's no river of any real note. There's a couple of creeks here and there. So you got plenty of water. And like I said, you've got forests kind of nearby that can be used to build some things. But they're limited. So you'd only get maybe about 3 or 4 constructions out of the local resources. But you could cannibalize something like wagons if you wanted to, but that would limit mobility and options for maybe retreating.
Are people still living in the,
Sorry,
in
just
the
a sec.
farms here?
No, they've been abandoned.
Then we could also use them.
You could. The one with the wall around it, that is a stone wall with a plaster facade on it, with a fairly like, it's like a manor house kind of farm
Put the rifle
with
there.
fields, like with fields around it.
How tall
Because
is
of
the
the-
wall? How tall is the outside wall?
It's about 10.5 feet tall. It is a very big kind of containing wall. It's meant to like, this is actually like probably was a holdfast like long ago that's been converted into like a residential or a rural house for who used to live there. The other complex is a long house, multiple stories with a lot of outbuildings around it and surrounded by fields that are wet as well. So like both farming complexes are surrounded by plowed fields, but they never got planted because of the things that have been going on. So because planting days is actually coming up very soon, and that they've been plowed but not planted yet. So because of the weather, they're actually very muddy. So every one of those complexes, they're along 4 different squares. Those 4 squares are mud essentially around them. So
Oh,
you've got that. The roads are packed dirt for the most part, except for the a little bit going to the unwalled complex, which is kind of crushed stone, and the driveway, or I guess you can call it a driveway, to the enclosed farm, which is also a crushed stone.
How's everybody's military history?
I was a town guard.
No, I'm just in
Mercenary.
general.
No,
Right.
Midge is asking you as
I'm
players.
asking players.
As like
How's
an
everyone's
actual military history, nah. Like I know a little. I've watched some documentaries and stuff. That's about it.
Utari, I'm guessing yours is pretty good, for sure. Probably better than mine. And Rival, I'm guessing yours is pretty good.
It's Waterloo.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Waterloo.
See, I also have the spell, right? It costs me an action to do.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a concentration spell up to 10 minutes, and after I concentrate on it for the full 10 minutes, it becomes real. Wall of Stone. And the only component I need is a small block of granite. And I can cast that spell 6 times? No, I can cast that spell 4 times a day?
But
I've got
3
Waller.
3 times a day.
to explain to those who might not be in the know when we say Waterloo, part of Wellington's defensive tactic was placed around basically 2 blockhouses, where he put essentially some of his best rifles in a stone blockhouse to essentially massively pin down an advance. And that stone complex sounds like the perfect position to recreate that kind of feel.
And I could make that
These
bigger.
advanced defensive positions as an idea.
And I could make that even bigger and better because I have Wall of Stone.
Yeah.
I've got that too.
So you have 4 casts of it, I think, because you have 2 level 6 slots, right?
No, 2 level 5s, 1 level 6, 1 level 7.
Ah, that would be it then. You can cast it in the 7th slot as well. Which is great because we can just be like, okay, there's now a load of stone walls here.
Although I need a level 5 for scrying each day, so I've actually got 3.
Okay, so we bought up 3 slots.
So we need to discuss how we want to. The only difference between Waterloo and this is we have nowhere near as many guns.
Yeah. I also think, as a
I
suggestion, Rivallon should be training his riflemen because we need to make sure they're good.
Yeah. Yes. They're kind of our ace in the hole in terms of military might here. Although the cavalry, heavy cavalry, is going to be quite helpful as well at disrupting lines as well. It's just we've got to keep them reserved enough and make sure that they're not just charging.
I don't really want to chop down the forests because using the forests as cover for those cavalrymen is a good idea. I think.
Well, the forests are not on map. They're just they're on the they're off to the west.
Okay.
Which direction are the enemy going to be coming in on this map here?
Both roads.
Both roads. Okay, so they're coming in here and here. I'm thinking the Italian campaign. Okay. There was a similar situation involving the Austrian army. Roach had a knowing smile there. You know where I'm going with this, right? You know where I'm going with this, right? With attempting to piecemeal them. Because if we can establish a delaying action at this longest road, we can face the other force of the top road and attempt some... Our advantage is getting in close. We cannot stand and fight them if they're just shooting, right? We need to get in and make it sticking work because that's where our army is superior.
Make it sticking work.
It's sticking work.
Well, we have
take his packets. Why you stopped, didn't you?
We have a fantastic advantage in that situation because we have an Ostinia. He is
so I want to give you guys just a heads up about kind of like in terms of this scale, how many units you have access to. So you're going to have access to 10 units of infantry on the map. So that's going to be, so every square would be a unit in there. So you have 10 units of infantry. You have 2 units of cavalry. They're mixed cavalry. So it's just a mixture of knights to sergeant at arms with bows. Like it's whatever they could gather together that had a horse. You have a single unit of rifles, actually matchlocks.
You call them Rivallon's rifles, okay?
Yeah, you've got one unit of matchlocks, and you've got 4 units of archers.
Okay.
Is what you have access to. You also have a lot of wagons that aren't really anything. That can be used for materials or things like that.
Can we get tokens for those to like put around the map?
Yeah, I can put them down. The problem
just so
is
we know what we're working with, so we can also move them around ourselves.
I'm keeping it very. I don't have tokens, but I have tokens.
Should we
that are...
Should we take our break now then and do a little bit of busy work while we're doing that, and then we can come back and get stuff going?
letter tokens?
It's not a bad
Since
shout.
we're 15 or 20 minutes away from our break anyway, take it a bit early, do all the
If you
busy
guys,
work.
if
Then
you guys want to, I can put down the tokens while you're.
Yeah. Okay. So
Sounds good.
we'll be back in.
And
5
I'm
minutes
leaving
time.
early-ish tonight anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Remember. So we'll take our 5 to 10 minute break here now. When we'll be back, we will continue this planning and see how the battle begins to unfold. Probably. So use the time, grab yourself a drink, and we will see you in a moment.
Cool.
Dicks.
Hi, everybody. We're back. We've been talking about orcs.
Oopsies!
It's obviously really important.
Yep.
So,
Unfortunately, it wasn't Tolkien orcs.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And so we're not just hemming and hawing about what's going on for the next 3 hours, so we can actually get into this. Just so you have like an idea of what's going on with the whole combat system, so you have an idea of what you can do. It's all based. It's every unit just gets a D10 when they do something combat wise. They roll that against whoever they're doing it against, and there's a bonus. That's it. You get a bonus for morale, you get a bonus for people in command. So if you guys are attached to a unit, whatever skill you're applying to whatever you're doing, you get your ability score bonus for that, whatever that is. So,
Rival, you're sticking with the rifleman, I think.
Fire. So that's what's going on there. There's chances for things to happen. You have 2 to 3 days to make this battlefield whatever you want it to be. Yes, rival.
Is it
In
2
the back,
or
yes.
3? It makes a massive difference.
It depends on the weather.
Roger's
I'm
going to be
rolling.
rolling for it, basically.
Better hope it fucking rains.
I'm gonna be rolling for it. They're close enough. Things worked out so that it was right on the cusp. It honestly just depends on the weather.
It's almost like someone planned this.
Almost like someone he actually
Actually-
had a plan in mind.
Actually, since you guys abandoned the whole campaign, I rolled this all up about 3 months ago. So by the time I got here, this has been here.
So we were just like, listen, we're gonna fuck off and not do anything you wanted to do.
I had a lot of pages of stuff that were going to happen that you could have been there for, but that didn't occur. So yeah,
Listen,
whatever.
we were busy
We had
discovering
some stuff to
shit.
resolve.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just let me vent. So
Everyone hug the DM. Everyone gets the DM hug.
no.
You just do a Blood Wars one shot every now and then to just fill in some of the stories from the Blood
Blood
Wars.
War. The
true.
Blood Wars.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how the basic system works. If there's like a really good roll or a really bad roll, other things can happen in there. That's kind of what we're dealing with in terms of the effects. So battlefield fortifications can add a bonus to the unit if they're using it. Traps can put a detriment on the unit that is affected by it. Morale training will give them a bonus to their morale. And training will give them a bonus for training, but you can only have, and so like there's a +1 for training, +1 for morale, overall +2, etc. That's how it kind of works. So you want that to kind of, so if you wanted to stack, so you could spread them or stack them. There's a lot of units in the army, so you got to figure out what you're wanting to do. So on the first day, because I'm going to count because you got there in the morning, so this is your first day. What do you want to do with your day, Isaac?
Okay. I'm gonna try and work on morale.
Morale? What unit do you want to do morale for?
The infantry are gonna be like the backbone of this. Like, how long they hold against those rifles and being able to close the gap is gonna be a mainstay of things. So I'm gonna try and improve the morale of the infantry, and like I'm gonna try and hearken on to the idea of like that you are fighting for your homes, your way of life, your families, your friends. This is what you're like. And I'm gonna try and bolster their morale and give them the big picture of what they're fighting for, and try and make sure everyone's getting a good food for the last couple of days, and so like making sure to like go around and like making sure people are eating, that people are
Fixing
worried,
their
they vent
morale.
their feelings. Yeah.
Trying to
You're
get them
being the
You rose-
company chaplain.
You raised your hand, rival. What would you
Yeah, it was fine. I was just going to advise Isaac, but it doesn't matter. He's made his choice.
This is only the first day, so
Yeah,
We have
Got
2
one
days
more-
minimum
you got-
at least.
Yeah, so you've got another guaranteed day. Okay, so I'm just going to take one infantry unit out of the stack here. And they're just going to... They're just going to go there. And we'll just make sure that I keep those separated, so they'll have a +1 to their morale. This doesn't require a check because it's just general things you have been doing throughout the day. Their morale's not particularly that bad, not particularly that good. It's just kind of meh, but they get a +1 to their morale in the upcoming battle. You spend most of the day doing that. You can see in the camp that everything's kind of okay because of Vogue's not too aggressive, not too defensive strategy that he autopiloted through the campaign with. It's kind of basic.
We left him on
middle of the
balance.
road.
Yeah.
We left him on balanced AI, and he played through he played through the auto resolve, and we're here now. So
Just linked to the battle I was referencing.
yeah. So you've got that. I'm gonna say, Rivallon, what do you want to do for your day? First day.
I'll leave me till last. I'm still thinking.
Okay. Mog, what do you want to do for your first day?
Well, I'm out of spells to create granite walls, so I'm going to create some traps between the road between the two farmhouses. So I was thinking if the gnome had left any sort of supplies of just pure gunpowder or something, maybe
There's gunpowder in the camp, though it's currently like in the sub camp for Rivallon's regulars. So they have like their spare powder on them.
Okay.
You'd be asking a lot to kind of give up their
Alright.
spare powder.
Well, if that's in that case, I'll make something that's sort of based on more kinetic stored energy, like maybe twist some vines around and maybe make some like mini crossbows that have energetic wires and things.
Yeah, when we say
You
traps, it's mostly basic traps that are like more
Holes in the ground
more
with
like
big sticks inside.
yeah, deadfalls, maybe like
Yeah.
maybe like a muddy, like a very muddy hole that's just filled with like viscous mud with like peat moss over it that looks like ground, so that like a horse would just like drown in it, kind of thing. Like it's you commandeer a large, you commandeer like a large group of laborers essentially together, and you're able to get I believe. Hold on.
I can give you some casts of polymorph to help that out if you want. I can send some people into some mammoths to do some heavy digging.
It's assuming throughout this, unless you say you're casting a spell, you're doing everything you need to do to get this done. Like there's because you're so powerful as it is, mundane tasks like making traps over a large period of time or creating defenses and things like that are kind of not
unstrong either.
True.
Yeah, so it's not something you're really, and there's a lot of laborers are not like weak.
Mog rolls up the sleeves on her very fancy
you can put down
robes.
For that, you can put down 2 squares of traps on the map. So if that's the case, I'll just put a red square over those 2 squares. So
can we have it near where all the roads sort of meet, and then one
So,
further
like,
up?
Okay, so like the crossroads square, and then the square where the driveway for the path to the
Their chaps are a little bit further up.
I think having one on the crossroads and having one near to where Vogue and such is camped, like spread it out enough that way they're not going, okay,
that's too much.
you know, they give it a little bit of time for them to kind of get comfortable again with the idea there's no traps again, and then fall into them again.
Yeah. But definitely one at that intersection.
Right. Okay. So one at the intersection. Right there. And
Can't say anything.
I trust you though, Roach. Carry on.
Cycling through.
Wait,
Can you not see?
May
Can
not
you see
be
the?
loaded yet.
Can
You
you see
can
the
just
blue
draw a
dot?
square, Mog, if you wanted, in the exact squares you want it to be.
Well, no, because I want something that's permanent for here. So, like, if you're looking at it right now, you guys can't
We don't see any
Got
red
the
squares on the
unit
map at all.
icons, but
Nope.
we don't see the.
Quick snap. Line, last side lighting, toggle lock. Assume makes sense. Oh, maybe you can't see it because your tokens aren't on here. Is that maybe it?
Maybe.
I'm just gonna drop your tokens in so you can. Can you see something now, Rival, on the map? Can you see the drawings now?
Yeah,
I see it
now.
Oh, I
No,
can,
that's
yes,
me.
you can.
You can't.
That's,
that-
that's
no,
red.
that-
That's... Delete that. Okay. I'm just gonna drop all your tokens in the corner, so they're just there. We're gonna need them anyways. Okay. Surprise. Visible to all. Invisible. Visible to GM. Visible to all.
Is there a layer system here? Is it on the right like layer?
Yeah, there's a layer system, but they're visible on that layer
Hmm.
kind of thing.
You make up a little. The only thing I can think of is make up just a little NPC called Trap and put a marker on.
Yes, I'll have to do that instead of drawing.
Or if you've got a T token.
Yeah, that's what it would do. If you create an NPC, it auto generates the token with the letter.
Okay.
That's one trappy boy.
Hazard
that's
token.
the right one.
Yeah, hazard token. And the other one, do you want it like here or?
I was thinking.
You can move that, by the way, now.
Okay. Oh, chaps, tell me if. But I was thinking. Like Mikey Sesh was saying, sort of further up.
I mean, it gives them a sense of like false confidence and maybe okay, they've planted traps here.
My
thinking is, as I said, one of these roads is longer than the others. So what we want is this southwesternly road is where I want to. I would advise we perform delaying action, and we focus our efforts on blocking the army coming from the north. We don't want them to join because we have similar numbers. We need to leverage our numbers advantage, especially since we're on the defensive here, where we can, because we're facing split forces that are coming to us, right? And we don't want to just be sitting still and allowing them to regroup, because if we set up traps there, well, we're still allowing them the opportunity to come up unopposed. My suggestion is the longest road is the one we want to trap as much as possible to slow them down and utilize most of our cavalry forces in that, because they're not going to be as useful in a blocking action. They're going to be very useful in a blocking and delaying action to the south, whilst we can focus archery and infantry to the north in a more close range fight, given the layout of the terrain, whereas we're facing a lot more flat plains to the south here. That's just my opinion. And
no, I agree.
I agree,
I'm thinking rather specifically that this looks almost not to a T, but very reminiscent of the second battle of Dago, where pretty much Napoleon did the same thing. He engaged split forces, beating back the Austrian army to prevent them joining up with the Piedmont Sardinian army that was coming from the south. The French effectively controlling the crossroads through that method.
So, you okay with that position then, Mog? That's the one you want to go with for your.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sesh.
I'm going to use. I'm going to first of all try divine intervention to see if Bahamut will send anyone to help, because fuck it, it's an action. Why not try it?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can totally do that.
So it's or/die D100, right?
Yeah.
Or is it slash or slash?
1d100.
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 Or slash or
Die.
1D
No,
slash
slash
or
die.
1D100.
It's slash
Slash
die.
die.
Slash
There's no
die.
R.
Slash
Yep.
die 1d100.
Doesn't work today. That's fine. Doesn't do
Nope.
anything. She's going to spend most of the day building fortifications using the stone wall spell.
Okay, so because of the scales we're talking about in here, you could spend 2 days building a square that has fortifications on it, or you could spend that time reinforcing already existing fortifications if you're using spells.
Right.
So like that stone in bank or the stone enclosure of that farming complex, you could reinforce it, providing an extra die or an extra bonus defense for anybody's positioned in there. Or you could half build one today and half build another and have another square of fortifications somewhere else on the.
What do you guys think? Should we hardcore fortify or go for 2 split situations here?
I'd say our fortifications are probably again going to be more useful in the south as part of the delaying tactic because we want to engage them close, given their firepower. In the north,
Right now-
fortification right now wouldn't be kind of handy there.
Because right now it's +1 for defense. It's +1 to their die for
I
any
mean,
unit in there.
If we're gonna stick the rifles in there, because there are, let's be real, there are hardest hitting piece of infantry on the field. We want them to
Disagree.
be around as long as you. Okay, if you disagree, then
I mean, we have Ustinia. He's the
Yes.
hardest hitting piece of infantry.
The hardest hitting piece of infantry we've got is the infantry if we can get them in close enough.
yeah, okay, true.
Like, I just want to know, do you guys want me to, like, spread out some fortifications, maybe have them littered about a little bit, so if we're having to, like, retreat, I could have small walls spread out in certain parts of the map, or I could just hardcore focus it, or I could just spend a day to make our defensive bonus an extra one. If you guys aren't going to make a decision, I'm just going to roll a dice.
Roll a dice.
Roll
Both have their merits.
Leave it up.
Right. So we'll go with a
Roll another
d6. 1 and 2 is wall spread out. 3, 4 is new fortification. 5, 6 is reinforce.
Cool.
So wall spread out. She's going to plant. What is it? 10. I think it's 120 feet of stone
120
per
feet.
cast.
Yeah.
Uh, 10 foot by 10 foot panels. So it's 100 feet of stone per cast, 100 feet of stone wall per cast, and I can
At
cast it
6
3 times a day.
inches.
At 6 inches thick. Yeah,
Or 10 by 20 foot at 3 inches.
yeah. She's gonna make it thicker though because we want it to last longer against volley fire. So she's gonna make the walls thicker but shorter and spread
Alright.
them out, interlaced along the retreating path.
Okay, that'll come into play. It won't provide a bonus die, or it won't provide a bonus to the die rolls, but it will come into effect. It'll help with
Right.
a certain thing. Okay, so then Ustania, what would you like to do for your action?
Training the cavalry.
Okay, so you take one of the cavalry units and you just start providing
Mhm.
a bonus. So that would be, hold on, keeping track of the book. It's better that way. C1 is going to get a +1. That. So I'm just going to tilt them, and every tick I tilt them is an extra bonus to their roll. So, okay, you do that. So what you've done so far is, Rivallon, what would you like to
Train
do
the
today?
rifles.
Train the rifles. Okay. By the way, first time you've seen the rifles in a couple of weeks. They have been. It's odd. because there's no real template for them to move to form themselves off of, except for the enemy, and they're obviously going to resist kind of emulating the enemy. So it's just a hodgepodge of various like of the image of musket armed infantry. But one thing that is maintained throughout there, what would you say Rivallon's primary color is other than black? That was noticed turquoise.
Yeah.
They have a turquoise, closest to as they can get turquoise feathers that they've got inside of a broad brim cap that they're all wearing.
Any of the boys from back home, back in the original place here?
The
that
first
recognize
fight? My
Rivallon?
God.
A good number of them are now the commanders of the unit. They've been essentially kind of like apprenticing people that they can bring into the units. That's why they have a full unit's worth now instead of just a skirmish line that they used to have. So it's a lot. The rifles aren't any better, or the muskets aren't any better than they were before, but they're dedicated to this. They want to prove themselves. So you're able to train them, and so they're going to get. They already had a +2 for training, so they get a +3 now to that.
These boys are good.
Because Rivallon
Ew.
already trained them.
Yes, Rivallon already trained them for quite a while before the invasion. So
Yeah,
they-
Is
they
Rivallon
were able
Sala
would
going to
pass
do
it along.
anything? Is Sala going to do anything, Roach? Is she going to volunteer anything?
She has an action, yes. So she, let's see here. She is going to. She's going to take an archer unit under her wing and teach them some tactics on how to try and overcome a musket line. So.
If at any point we need to vouch for her, Sesh will step in and vouch for her if she's walking around and anything comes up.
Obviously.
She's a member of the company now.
She's got my
Yes,
blue
and-
sash on as well.
She's got her own turquoise thing. She
Just-
doesn't have a brooch for it. That's all.
Yeah. So just so you know as well, the archers and the infantry have no bonuses starting. So everything you do to them right now will provide a bonus. The cavalry all had a +1 already because they're intermixed with some nobility and people who know what they're doing. And the riflemen were probably the best trained out of everybody, even though they look so
Ragged.
hodgepodge, ragged. They're they make up for it on the battlefield. So
They don't look pretty, but damn, do they do the job.
exactly. They've actually been the ones that have probably had the most time fighting, because they're quick and they're very small, so they've been actively skirmishing quite a bit, and doing like rear guard actions and the like. So you get that information, Rivallon, as you're training them. You even see a couple of faces you recognize who are leading, who at one point were green, like wet behind the ears, but now are like leading whole sections. So you got that. That's going to be their actions. Vogue also gets one because he's a general of the army, and he is going to go ahead and try and boost the morale of the other cavalry unit.
Can you tilt the R, please?
Yes,
Thanks.
sorry.
You're not losing that point. Don't even try it.
No, you're right. I was with that. So
Well, I was just
We
making
got that.
sure, you know.
yeah, so we got that. And now I'm going to make the roll for the weather. Even though you have another day, today's the decision day because it'll either get here the morning of the next day or the morning of the day after. So that's kind of. So
Today is the D-Day, bogus. Let's do this.
today's the day, unless any of you have control weather.
Let me check.
Zero druids here. Zero druids.
Yeah,
It would be
so-
super funny if we like. Oh yeah, I took a few levels in Druid.
Rain, rain.
Not just
Oh.
rain.
I
I'd be
think
like,
it's level 8.
control weather is a level 8 transmutation spell.
Yep.
It is, yes.
What
It is a big.
Oh, wizards get it, and
Wizards
clerics
do
do
get
too.
it?
Actually, huh?
Yeah,
Quite a few do. Quite a few do actually.
Yeah,
Cleric
it's
of
cleric,
Storm
druids,
also
and
gets it.
wizards. That's it.
So here's the
I
thing.
think I
It
would
is.
get it as well. 'Cause I get
Oh,
cleric.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
It's in your favor. It's in your favor because the conditions are correct for for the rain to continue, for the weather to continue. Because if it dries, that's the problem. But if if it stays being wet, this area of the country does not really have good roads, so it's slowing down both of their columns. So I'm just gonna roll a die, and we're gonna see. And if it's anything above a 15, the weather turns, but everything else will result in a
Steady state.
continued.
We want low.
Yeah.
You want low. You want anything below a 15. You're trying to roll under that. Because
Want to
technically,
go
this is
higher or
their-
lower?
Isaac, you should roll
technically
it.
this is
Mid should
technically
roll
this
it.
is them rolling.
Mid
Give
should
you
roll it.
my 8.
Oh yeah.
No, because
The
The
divination wizard is like, no.
do you want to roll it? Do you want to roll it?
No.
It's just a
because
D20.
That would be when I roll a D20.
It's just a D20. Isaac, come on. Do you want to? Or...
He really does. Look at that face.
Look at him. Look at him. He wants to do it. He wants to do it. Hey, roll a 3.
Do it.
You rolled a 3.
That was Rivallon. That was Rivallon.
Rivallon rolled a 3. No.
Oh, I rolled a 3 as well.
Noise.
All right.
Noise.
So you get 3 full days to work. So the next day.
Can we
So
have
the
a
next
long
day.
rest, please? Because
Oh,
spells.
yeah. Right. You're correct. Long rest.
Oh.
Oh, and whoop.
So,
Ooh.
Shit. Never mind.
Okay.
so next day, and I kind of want to go through this quickly because I want to get into the actual thing. So, let's so the next day, Isaac, what do you want to do for the day?
I'm going to. I'm gonna do some more traps. I think I want to get some more hazards down the south and increase the delaying.
Okay. So
I want to spread some. I want because I want one more on the road.
there's your 2 hazards. You can put them
And
down.
I think I want one because yes, they might use the road for wagon trains and such, but I think we want some on the field as well in case they try to spread out. And
Where's
envelop.
that cavalry going to come from in that situation then? Because we want them to harass down
Well,
there.
they're in the south here. Sorry, I'm going to grab the hazard token for a moment. See this area? There's a bit of higher ground with a lower ground either side of it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking hide them behind the higher ground.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So
To start the delaying action. But Ustinia's in charge of the cavalry. I'm naming that now.
all right. So
I am the resident expert.
the resident expert. So all right. You got that, Mog. What do you want to do?
First, I want to scry on Volrid.
Okay. I'm just gonna roll a d20. He gets a +2 to this. Okay, 5. He fails.
Yes.
All right. So, when you scry onto him, that would be early in the morning. When you scry onto him, he is not at a campsite. He is not in a tent. He is in the elements. He is moving at quick speed, straddling a large beast in the air.
He's coming for us.
And he seems to be directing other individuals out of the site from around, like they're too far away, but he's directing them with direct and kind of very overblown hand gestures, which you think might they need to be so that they can be seen from a distance. It doesn't look like he's actively in combat, but he's moving. He's moving quickly.
Okay.
And that's what you
And,
get.
and it's the same sort of weather that we've got, so like cloudy, overcast, foggy.
Yeah, it's actually very interesting because you've never seen him out of anything but his very pristine dress uniform that he always wears, but he is wearing like an oil skinned like foul weather cloak over his uniform. His hat is off, and it's just like there's a hood up, and he's there's a lot of moisture wicking away on his face. So he's definitely in like a wet weather in the air. And it looks to be about the same amount of time of day as whenever you check. You got that. So what's your action for the day?
Walls or traps, walls or traps, walls or traps. Walls. I'm going to reinforce the farm.
Reinforce the farm. Okay. So the farm, the wall's pretty solid. Like I said, it's an old hold-fast stone wall that's been kind of prettied up with plaster front. But you go ahead and you add like panels inside of the farmhouse that then go up like buttressed right up against any exposed wall you can, so that it's, instead of it being, a standard wall thickness, it's like double that. And you'll even have, probably with the amount of space and wall that you can make with that spell, you could even go ahead and like have firing steps put in on a lot of those walls so they can be fired over. So it makes it a much more defensible structure. There's not as many blind spots, providing an extra +1 to any unit defending from there. So that is something you get done. Sesh, what do you want to do?
Do you guys think I should do some more interspersed wall reinforcements, or should I train a unit of infantry?
Infantry, I say.
Right. Pick a random unit of infantry, Roach, and I'm going to spend the day training them.
Okay. I'm just taking them one at a time, so that's infantry 2. Has a +1.Ustania, what do you want to do?
I'm. I'm going to improve the morale of the other cavalry.
Okay.
They're very important to my plan.
Yes, yes.
Need to leverage
plan
every
here.
advantage possible.
I got a plan here.
Roach, I have just a quick question on spells as a thing.
Yes.
And just the situation in the camp. Are there any diseases in camp or anything of the sort? Or anyone for
like any medical problems.
Can we reclaim it? Because I have the 6th level spell heal. I can give it to anyone within 60 feet.
Because
and
of the
distributes 70 hit points. But one of the things it does do, it ends blindness, deafness, any diseases affecting those targets.
Because of see, the thing is that would have been something you could have done, but because there hasn't really been major actions, and because it's been very active, they haven't stayed in one spot for too long, so there hasn't been a lot of close contact with a large amount of people, and there hasn't been a major battle to cause a lot of injuries. So it's kind of you're basically leaving Vogue in charge gave you like a flat 0 on most things. Like it wasn't too bad, wasn't too good. It kind of just a thing that happened, because there was a lot of things that could have happened during the campaign up to this point that could have provided a bonus or a detriment depending on how they went. So it's kind of how this is playing out.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah. So that's that. And Rivallon. You've already trained the riflemen, so if you wanted to provide another +1, you could morale them, but you can't train them again.
No, but I can dig trenches.
You can. So you're going to put down some more traps or essentially hazards.
No, trenches.
Defensive trenches.
Defenses. Okay, defenses. Where were you wanting to put those? Like around the farmhouse, or kind of just along the road? Or...
Along the road to the north.
Along the road to the north. Okay. So, all right. I'll let you. So we'll say you put down a couple like layers of trenches. They're not very long, and they're not very. They're temporary. They're not meant to be kind of lived in. They're just meant
No.
to. They're a position. They're just a position that's being put down. It'll help. It'll also break up large movement over them because they're trenches. You know, it's going to be hard to march a column or a line over them. So it kind of does a 1-2, but it'll provide some mechanical benefit for that. So you've got that. All right, third day. Let's get through this quick.
What about Salah and Vogue?
Mm-hmm.
Sala is going to go ahead and take another archer, and she's going to train them as well, because the more there are, that's the bulk of your range units that are going to be taking that. And Vogue is going to spend some time. He is directing his troops to build some defenses right at the crossroads, a concentric low wall that'll block heart movement on the road itself and provide some cover for infantry. It's like a fallback position. If you ask him, he says that's gonna if they get forced back that far, there's not a lot else they can do at that point. That's the best position he can think of. So he's reinforcing that. Third day, Isaac.
Okay, I'm going to increase the morale of the final cavalry unit.
Okay.
That needs it. I'm leaning on Ustinya's plan here, I think.
Okay.
This is a good plan.
You got that. Mog, what are you doing?
I am.
I know it's hard. It's supposed to be.
I know. I'm gonna lay another couple of traps.
Okay. I'll drop some on the on the field so you can place them where you want to place them. And while you're doing that, Ustenia, what do you want to do?
I'm going to help train one of the other archer units that haven't had an advantage yet.
Okay. So another one is trained. Makes sense. You've fought these guys before, so it helps. So you've done that. Stash.
I'm going to. Well, first of all, I forgot to do the divine intervention yesterday, but that's fine. I'm going to do that today. See if I can't get good old Bahamut's help. Nope.
And then one more for today, because technically that was yesterday's. I'll let you do it again.
No, even worse.
Yeah, it's
it states in the thing that it's below my cleric level, which is 10 or below. So shit.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's a 10% chance.
Roll the dice. You never know. Anyway, okay. So if I was to take my 3 stone wall spells and help reinforce Vogue's fortifications, how much better would that make them?
That would give it an actual +1 to any unit that's inside the crossroads squares. They would receive.
I think that's worth
+1.
it, guys, considering that's going to be where a lot of the hard fighting is going to be.
That's
that's our. It's a weird mishmash of stone and wood fortifications that go up. Essentially, what you do is you raise the stone underneath the wood fortification slightly and kind of create like a foundation that is put down underneath them at some point.
And it's also much more bullet resistant, which helps.
Yeah. Well, actually, wood is very, very bullet resistant for a musket ball. Like it's almost impossible to shoot through a tree.
It's not modern day munitions. I have to keep reminding myself of that.
Even modern day too, unless you've got like a full steel jacket around that, it's pretty hard to get through because and usually there's a soft tip. And Rivallon. There's one more archery unit that has not had any bonuses applied to it. A lot of our infantry. Rifles could be morale boosted, so they would get a full +4 on that if you wanted to do that.
Okay. I asked Sala what she's going to do today.
Sala is planning on taking a group up, and she's going to lay traps where she thinks the most likely areas that the cavalry detachments will come through. The enemy cavalry. She knows their
I'll
tactics
take the
quite well.
other archers and give them some like actual pointers from a serious archery sniper.
Okay,
So
that
if you want to
works.
hit a guy from 6 miles away, here's what you do.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot of it's a lot of basic stuff, right? Like how to target like a full line, like where to target the line to make the most effective.
No, it's
things
actually I was
like
going
that.
for how to hit someone and kill them with one shot while they're in 3/4 cover.
But not as applicable. But yeah,
Can we
you can do that.
pre-sight? Can we add some pre-sight markers for range? Can we range marker this? Cool.
I'm assuming part of the training is you are kind of getting a
Okay.
lay of the battlefield and stuff like that, because they're only firing one square out with the archer, 2 squares for muskets. It's kind of not there's range. Well, actually, it'd be reversed. Never mind. 2 squares for archers, 1 square for muskets, because they're actually less accurate in that case. But yeah, so all the archers have a +1. Both cavalry have a +3. Rifles have a +3. Okay, and Vogue is going to go ahead. Oh, and yeah, I need to put down those things right here. Hazards. Let's put them up.
Yeah, have you put my hazards on?
Your hazards? No, you put down those trenches. Trenches. They're acting as They're not acting as full hazards, but they're acting as defensive, because you said you wanted to lay trenches down for that. The hazards are traps.
Okay.
The hazards are traps. I know where those are. I know where those are. Those are because we don't have enough markers to really mark what the defenses are.
Could you tell me where you put them then?
Yeah, you said along the northern road, right?
Yeah.
So any unit that's gonna be fighting along the northern road is going to have bonuses for that, because it's because you're not providing a full +1. You're kind of providing a situational bonus that might come up during for the system. Yeah, and Vogue is going to spend some time. He's just going to train up another infantry. He thinks that's probably better to do. He wants to get them kind of.
We want
in a
those better
good-
trained ones in our center, then I think.
So, after 3 days, the cavalry's as best as it can be. You've standardized their formations a bit better. They've gotten direct training from an Uteshian step rider, and a lot of all the archers have been given like direct hands-on training and taught how to do things. The rifles are actually doing fairly well. They've got a very strong position, plus they've been kind of drilled a bit better. Their morale's a bit better. They're doing great. And
Their leaders back.
Their leaders back. And hazards have been placed around the battlefield in the form of traps, deadfalls, anything you can do, like self starting traps, where if they put weight down on something, it clicks something else up and hits them. Like it's not going to do a lot, but it might slow them down. It might provide disadvantage on them. It's a lot of stuff that's going on right now. So the day comes. It's morning. The forward scouts, the pickets that are always deployed, ride back into camp before dawn light fully comes. And they warn there are 2 columns coming, one from the north, one from the south. Both are large. In raw numbers, they're similar in size to your united force. No dragons have been spotted.
That'll change.
Bo gives the order. They muster out of camp. You see lines of infantry get into blocks of troops, the standard battle formations that are typical for armies in this time and age. Archers are forming as well into big clumps. The riflemen double time it down the road and into their pre-planned position inside of the farm, where you start seeing their feathered caps on the battlements that have been placed there. along with like 2 full wagons of all of their spare powder and ammunition that has been carted out. So for this battle, where do you want to be?
I want to
What do
be
you
with
wanna-
the infantry unit that's going up front. That's where I'm most effective.
Because you're essentially what you're going to do is you're going to attach yourself to some unit in the battle. Is what you can do here.
I'll attach
Vogue is
my-
attaching himself to an infantry unit in the center.
I'll be with some archers because I'm ranged.
Okay. Ustenia.
Well, with the cavalry, obviously.
Okay. Yeah.
He's going to use his lance finally.
Yeah.
Yay!
In the climactic final battle.
Yes.
Well, you know what? At least he got
It's,
to use it.
even, it's statistically worse than the axe.
That's the best part too.
Yeah.
I hope it breaks and then you just take the axe out and chop off the
I'm
I'm
going to use it one time, like a proper lance where it like impacts and then switch to
Then
the
you
side.
throw it, and you're like, all right, time to axe.
Be a herald giving you a point somewhere in the
Yeah.
battlefield. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's
And
Justinian.
Rivallon, what do you want? Your boys are in the farmhouse. They know what they're got to do. You don't necessarily have to be attached to them, but so all of you know, the unit you're attached to will get a bonus to its rolls.
The problem is they're not going to be in the fight to begin with
Not for a bit.
because they're in the center.
Babe, it could be
and
decisive.
They could be, but right now I wouldn't be any good there.
Essentially, what would happen if you wanted to detach and reattach yourself to another unit? You would waste like a section of the battle, like trying to, because you basically have to ride out from where you were to where you need to be. So so there would be a mechanical disadvantage if you were going to switch up in the middle. It's something you can do though, just so you know.
Okay, I'll stay with the rifles,
Stay with the rifles, okay?
but not before I land one on Sala before she leaves, wherever she's going.
Dala is receptive, and she's taking your horse, and she's going with cavalry.
Well, Paul, she comes back alive or you don't come back. Got that?
Somehow you think the horse understands.
The horse is just like, okay, boss, I get it.
The horse just looks at me. Don't judge me.
Actually, would she want to borrow my horse since my horse is actually a war horse?
She's
See, I
borrowing
can
my
actually
horse.
talk to your horse and give that instruction very clearly.
Yeah. Sting is stepping in like as the bro, like
Rivals is a war horse as well. You took all the war
Oh,
horses.
yeah.
You only bought
Yeah.
the war horses.
Also, she has experience with this horse because that's the one she rode back to
Yeah,
you
that's fair.
guys
That
with.
makes sense.
She took that horse. And you also see she has not only her Dominion built pistol, she has commandeered 3 other pistols that are matchlock from
Yes.
the rifle.
got
So
just
she
a
has-
bandolier
She's
of
got
pistols.
a life-stealing rapier and 3 pistols.
Four
Four.
pistols.
Herself
Four.
4 pistols. Sorry,
She's got a
is like-
life-stealing rapier and a bandolier of pistols. And
You
she's
tell me
just
she's
like,
got a
Scouting
big-
cavalry.
If you tell me
She's
she's
like-
got a big black beard, I'm gonna be very pissed
Oh
off.
no, it's
Grows one
English
instantly.
Civil War round. It's a Cavalier cavalry, is what it is. The
Yeah.
gentleman, essentially the latest version of knights with as many pistols as they
She
can fire
is-
and right the fuck away.
Yeah, she is not hiding it. She is wearing her uniform, but she has ripped up the cloak and she has wrapped the turquoise cloak around her shako, and the rest is a sash around her.
Oh, that's
her
so
uniform.
cool. She's so cool, guys.
I wanted
Right,
I
before
wanted to get a
everybody
commission of
goes-
that, but I couldn't in time.
Before everybody goes, Mog's going to put Rari's on for at least the first hour on us, Vogue, Salah, and
Oh, so you
then
can talk with each other.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so we can at least communicate for that first hour. And I think it's burning a 5th, but it is well worth it.
I'm just gonna place the units down.
8 willing. So 5. So and 1 commander of Vogue's choosing.
And 1 commander of Vogue's choosing. He's gonna. 1 commander of Vogue's choosing. He's going to choose. He's going to choose the rifles. He wants extra. He thinks they're going to be a decisive thing. He wants to have as much communication with them as possible. Or no, what was the thing you were putting on him?
Rories.
Rories.
So we can communicate.
Yeah,
So
no,
at
he
least
wants.
for the first hour we can communicate.
Yeah, so the rifles now have both Rivallon and their actual nominal commander have you have
What's the
direct
nominal
communication with
commander's
them.
name?
Was nominal commander one of the guys who survived?
Was
the
it-
big
Yeah, I
fight?
think it was Sergeant. Well, now he'd be a lieutenant.
Field promotion.
Corporals
Yo.
in, this whole
Lieutenant or
army is
captain.
corporals in gold brand. Like the Vogue was a corporal in gold brand, and now like all of the remaining guys, except for the cavalry, is just all like, yeah, we.
Oh yeah, the
lost all
cavalry.
the-
The cavalry had a distinct camp. They were holding themselves from. They had.
But the
'cause
rest of
they
the
were all-
army has gone. Well, we're out of officers. Let's just get.
So
the
all of our officers are dead. So I guess I'm the officer now,
the army accidentally became a meritocracy.
Yeah. basically, which is a good thing, probably, maybe.
The thing is, Vogue's order was mostly meritocratical. He ran it pretty.
Yeah,
pretty
it
good.
was because he was as well.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he made it from the boot up,
Mhm.
right? Basically.
Yeah, no, it's it would be Lieutenant Faro, who was just a rifleman or a sharpshooter or whatever you would call him before, but he's been promoted. So he is providing extra communication for that unit specifically. So
Was he from Stunlass? He was born
Yes.
in Stunlass, wasn't he?
yes, all of them were because they were units that were taken from local. That was just kind of brought together like good sharpshooters with bows and arrows, and they've been trained on how to use these weapons. So the day comes.
I have it attached
Archers.
to myself. Yeah.
Well, I'm getting all the units
Cool.
kind of in a position for what they are because it's technically Vogue is the one who's in command, so he's taken your stuff as
Advisor.
what would you call it, advisory. So
Listen,
he
you guys are
split-
good, but I'm the actual military man here.
Yeah, I mean, which is
So he
fair.
split his command. He split his command like this. He's got a small section of infantry down to the south that will present a target. The cavalry will come. The plan is the cavalry comes back around and hits the enemy line as they're being pulled up north, being slowed by hazards along the way. While the main line is anchored by better trained troops with archers on either side to help try and slow down any type of flanking that goes by. And you have Solid to thank for the hazards of where she thinks the cavalry will come in, because she knows the enemy will come in through road march, but the cavalry will be out riding on the sides. So she hopes that'll slow them down, forming into cohesive units. So you get together and you see no smoke coming from the horizon, no dust, because it is wet. The ground is moist and the dew has yet to dry from the grass. It's just on the edge of being mud today. The trenches that Rivallon laid, while usable, they do have a pool at the bottom of them. There's no drainage, but they're there. And it doesn't take long. By the time everything gets together, you've moved off to your positions. And by the way, when you to attach, you can go ahead and just put your tokens next to the units that you.
I've just
to
put
be a
mage
part.
armor on myself.
Which one is Vogue with again? The most middle one, I
Center,
assume?
yeah, center infantry.
I'm gonna
Center.
join. I'm gonna join one of the infantry. I've on purpose. I have picked up one of the standards of the dynasty. I've got that in one hand and my wand in the other, and I'm
You're that guy from the Patriot, the kid Gabriel or whatever his name is. You spent the day your nights at camp sewing back together the Kalan Dynasty flag, like it's patched together.
Yeah, I'm battle standard at the center. I'm a warcaster. I don't need to be
Hey, that's
at
fine.
range. So I'm
So-
They're just like, all right, y'all like
I'm
fire?
using my charismatic presence and holding a massive flag near the center of this army.
So I'm just gonna start placing the enemy down. Not K. Not K.
Incoming 75 units of enemy bastards.
God, I keep growing. Wrong one. M. M. M is for musket.
Mm-hmm.
That way we don't get our infantry confused.
Makes sense.
And also their cavalry are hussars, so I'm just gonna put an H down.
Okay.
Hussars.
H for horsey boys.
Do we have a mock? Okay, yeah, no, he's just in the gap in between us.
Yeah, it's just in the. I know which one. He's the one. Whatever one you guys didn't attach to is what he is. So provides that. So here's how it goes. The first. So this is very narrative in base. We're not going to be doing. We're going to be doing some rolls when it comes up, but it's very narrative. This kind of combat system. It's so. If you want to interrupt, you can, but there's not a lot that can be. Be done. Okay, so the enemies start coming down the main roads. You see, they're split into two somewhat equally sized units. Both columns. The army was together at one point and split specifically for this action. They're far better off in terms of like their looks. They don't look as ragged. They're gleaming in the early morning light. The hussars that you've never actually seen before. You haven't seen the Elven cavalry. They are very brightly colored instead of the black and instead of the white and yellowish colors and greens and stuff. They're bright crimson cloaks with gold braiding on them. They're wearing very tall furred caps with symbols adorning them. And they're all armed with very like kind of vicious looking, kind of like a modernized version of an elven kind of blade, but it's longer and thinner and got a slight bend at the tip. It's a saber, but it's an obviously elven saber that they're all armed with. You can see them gleaming, and they're riding in outrider formations that start coalescing. Because of the hazards that are on the field, it takes them longer to form lines. They're trying to get things together into a battle line, but Vogue is yet to order an attack. The ones at the battle, I guess you can all communicate with each other. You can see he wants to wait because they haven't been harassed. They're full strength right now. They're ready. If they're not expecting it, they haven't fought us in the field. So he's waiting for them to get close, because you can't run infantry that far. They have to get close for that charge to work. So he's holding them back. Archers, the less trained ones, the ones that are a little bit more greener, some of them let loose an arrow or two and a bit early, and you can see them like an arc and then fall short. But the range is good. Like, they've got range further than you think the muskets can fire, but they have to wait for that. So it takes about 20 minutes. Every battle round is 20 minutes on here. Okay. And they start forming a ragged line. And it takes even longer, actually, with 20 minutes. It takes longer. The horses get caught up in these kind of like ankle traps that Sala has laid out inside of fields. She's put like moss over them, and they're just large enough for a horse that when they go over, their hoof will go in and it'll just snap. Like she's done this before. She knows, like, this is in a manual somewhere, you think. So it's just there. It's just there to slow them down. Like one or two, and they have to keep reforming. So
you see, it says right here, right? This is how you slow down some infantry charges.
It takes even longer for the line in the south to get into formation. In fact, they don't get it in the first battle round because they are heralded by these these traps on the road. They were in march column, and they have to like get off the road, and it's this big formation kind of change. But the hussars are sticking close, sticking close. Vogue has his men hold. He tells them hold. Rivallon, you can see over the battle, just because of the relative change in
Elevation.
the elevation. You can just see the enemy because they're coming kind of down into the valley from their position. So so you can see them riding in or marching in. You can see the lines and the if you ever seen Waterloo, the film, you can see the flickering of light dancing off of like bayonet and like hits from a distance, kind of that kind of thing. That's what you can see. So we get to the second battle round. And this is the one where we're starting to get into it. Okay? The lines start moving closer to you. Archers start firing. So we're just going to move them up to where they would be. And each side kind of gets an order to do things. And again, the hussars are just going to be further behind. They're not in position because of your actions. And in the second battle round, ones in the south start forming a line, but they don't have the time. But the hussars are starting to ride out from that line. So everything starts happening. The elves are marching. They form line. They're in a solid formation, 3D. A long line. Officers on horseback, you can see peeking out from behind their troops. Archers start firing. They're heralding the edges of the formation. They're keeping them from spreading out. They're actively causing damage. They're actively causing damage. The hussars aren't there yet even because they're still trying to catch up to the formation. So the archers aren't having to pull back. Mog, you're helping as well. You're starting to cast things to help your... Actually, here's the thing. For all the spellcasters, essentially you can as well provide spell levels in bonuses to your troops you're attached to, if you choose to. And you have to mark off a spell level for every bonus you provide. So whether or not you want to. Right now the archers have a +1. They're heralding. They're not doing a direct like focused attack yet, but they're like volleys are going out to kind of like in a general area. They're just far enough away for that.
Okay, can I give them a level 2?
You give them a level 2. In fact, that's enough. They're just going to go ahead and attack directly, which gives them a +9 versus +1. Okay. It hits. It's heralding them. They rolled a 10, the enemy, which means they get a +1. You guys rolled a 6, which gets +3, so you still lost by 2. So that's how it's working. It's but they're heralding. They're really hammering them, but they've got a very stone morale. These troops you're facing. They're expecting this. This was something they thought of.
Okay, how far are they away from us?
2 battle squares, which is like the long range disadvantage for a longbow. So I think about 600 feet. I think a battle square is about 300 feet or something close to that. It's abstracted quite a bit.
Far too far away. Okay, that's
fine. Yeah. And that's when Vogue sees them getting ready for their volley. You hear him in your minds. He knows we're not going to get the charge off before the first volley, but if we can hold for that volley, we can break the distance and try and get in with them. That's the plan. So they do a volley. They're all same bonuses, so we're just going to do this. They only roll 3, +1 is 4. All of your guys that are going to get hit, except for 2, are going to have... Well, actually, no. So, 1, they're just going to basic 1. Okay, all the ones that don't have bonuses, that don't have anybody attached, rolled an 8. They receive the volley, and people are falling from the line, stereotypical, movie, I've been shot. Yeah, exactly. The ones in the center, do you want to provide any bonuses?
Yes.
All
provide
3
a
of
level
those.
5 spell. No,
let
me correct that. I'm not going to burst a level 5 spell quite yet. I'll use a level 3 spell.
So you provide 3 spell levels, providing a +3 for your unit. So I'm just going to roll this. It's against an 8. 9 plus 3 plus 1, so you've got a plus. You
13.
got a 13.
So some
versus
some guys go down
9.
around session. She's just like mass healing word, and they all get back up.
Yeah,
off
yeah,
the
you're
ground.
just helping them. You're helping
Yep.
them. Vogue, he's using his battlefield acumen to provide a +2 to his men. That's a 7 versus the 4 that they received. They're doing okay. They're not breaking. Isaac, what do you want to do? You can provide spell levels, or you could provide a bonus from one of your abilities if you can justify it.
Okay. I'm gonna give a. I'm just checking my abilities.
You want to use charisma, like saying you're using that to bring them.
Yeah,
to,
I
like,
was gonna say,
waving the
could I?
standard.
Could I? Well, I've got the standard. I want to just be like.
charisma, like oh, like
Yeah,
something like that.
just properly. Just do the whole. I'm out.
Sword
in
out
front
and
of them, like,
yeah.
no. As
For
well, no. As
clan,
what I
for
as what I want to
Volk.
do actually is I want to just because it's a cantrip and I can do it. I want to use a combination of the light cantrip. So I'm gonna use light cantrip on the standard and prestidigitation to make it like properly shine. And
All right, I'm
I'm
gonna say
like
that's your charisma. What's your charisma bonus?
my charisma bonus is a +4.
+4. They
I
rolled
am
a 9.
Gandalf. I'm Gandalf with the
The
Riders of
13.
Rohan with the light.
The 13 total versus the 4 that you got hit with. They're
for me
casualties,
in the
obviously.
east.
Casualties are happening, but in warfare like this, the morale's what matters. Morale it makes or break a fight. Casualties don't necessarily come into play a lot of the times. So they take casualties, but nobody's breaking. They see their the person they're attached to waving a flag in front of them, lights gleaming off it. You see like little holes being made in the flag as musket balls fly around you, but
It's
you
this scene from
hold
Dawn of
steady.
War 1, the intro
Yeah,
fucking cinematic where he puts the banner up and it's
Yeah.
just
And the
Yeah.
light, yeah.
Yeah, and the light, and with that, Vogue gives a general order, and you all hear it, and you hear the messages going there. We're going forward. We're charging. We're making the distance. We've got one square to move, and they go for a charge. Now, because nobody actually received a detriment because of the previous thing that happened, the charge happens. They go through, so they move in across field. And you can see this Rivallon from your position and also in your mind's eye because you are technically psychically linked to every commander on the field. You are the commander on the field.
You're cycling linked
see-
to every person of importance.
You're seeing the charge.
Hey, is that?
Yeah, you're seeing the charge happening like in your mind's eye. They're going across, and they hit. And because again, the difference between battle starts raging. Muskets are firing, bayonets are out. You see elves turning their bayonets around and just batting like guys with kettle helmets and various other things. Like it is a mass of action happening, and right when that happens, Rivallon, you notice from the back of the valley coming through 2 large shapes from the sky breaking through the clouds,
Of course.
trying to flank your friends. But before they can do that, they have to go over you and your men.
Get him, babe.
Rip into him, Rivallon.
I shout out the order.
Form line and volley fire like in the air.
Kill them.
Bring them
Well,
down!
essentially, yeah. Hold on, I'm trying to get that.
We've gone from being a rifle regiment
Battery to an AA battery.
to an AA guns battery.
This
You know,
is
if it
like
works.
the Viet Cong using AKs to shoot down Hueys. Like,
Hey, they took down A6 intruders with an AK.
yeah, exactly.
A single round.
Golden BBs. Golden BB. That's that'll bring down a helicopter. So yeah, 2 dragons with riders are now there. They get a +4 to their roll, but your boys get a +3 normally.
And the extra
And a
one
plus-
was under.
Well, +2 because of their position, because it was reinforced by you. And then you're using what? You're guiding them with like your shot dexterity, or
Yeah.
you? Okay, so you're using dexterity. I will allow that because it's what works. So what's your bonus for dexterity?
My dex bonus is +3.
+3, so that is a +8 to their roll.
Damn. Fuck.
So the dragons can't technically win unless they roll a 10 and you roll like really
A 2
bad,
or a 1.
a
basically.
2 or something like that. So I'm gonna roll this. They roll a 2.
Oh, here we go.
They
Come
roll a
on,
2.
Rivallon. Tear him to
Bring down the
pieces.
glory hound.
Tear him to pieces.
Your guys rolled a 4. They weren't that great, but you get a +8, so it's still a 12, which is a difference of 10, which means a moment of decision happens. And again, this is the rule set that I came up with for this fucking thing. I'm giddy. I'm giddy. This is great.
I have the sounds of pike and shot going on in the background, plus some epic battle music. This is like
Yeah.
perfect right
With a
now.
moment of decision, if there's a difference of more than 10 between 2 dice rolls, a moment of decision opens up, a tide of war breaks. And so what this one is, hold on. This one is I gotta find it. I've got these written out. You've got a.
Rivallon
A
pulls out
clear
a cigar.
You've got the
He's like,
tide of. You've got the. You've got a clear shot. In the moment of clarity, amongst the clamor of battle, the smoke clears, and you glimpse a key figure of the enemy in the midst, and you have an open shot. In the air, dodging away from 20 musket shots as they're trying to regain their formation, you see Volred riding amidst his dragon. His shackle gleaming in the sunlight. He's dressed in full battle garb, and he has his sword aloft. He's trying to direct the dragon to come back around to strafe your position.
Do I
I'm
take
gonna
the
need
shot?
Well, that's the thing. It's a moment of heroism here. I'm gonna need you to fire something. I'm gonna need you to make an attack roll against him.
Oh. Yes.
There could only
Yes.
be one better dice. There could only be one better dice.
There's only one better.
30
You see it.
fucking one.
Also, I just
Dick.
clapped really hard and I have rope burn right now, so that really hurt. But I'm okay with it.
Worth it. Worth it.
Worth it.
You see him. You track. You draw in. You draw your bow. You lead and let forth fly an arrow, a magical arrow as well, like as best as you can. It arcs, and you see it connect in the midst of battle. And for a second, it's obscured by smoke. Smoke is hanging in the battlefield, and for just a second, you can't see what happened. But then you see 2 shapes falling from the air.
Oh, yes.
And you lose track as they disappear behind the defensive wall.
Bonus action hunter's mark, so you know where he is.
This is technically a combat round, but yeah, if you want to, he's still alive, but you can tell the dragon is not flying anymore.
Oh.
Did I get to roll damage on that?
This isn't really kind of. This
Okay.
isn't like
I'm
a
just checking.
combat round like
I'm
that.
checking.
Yeah.
I'm checking.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
I'm kind of frozen, and it's kind of like it obviously broadcasts around everything. Holy shit! I hit him.
It was a very high
You just
DC.
hear a high
It was very high DC.
squeak from the mod
Yeah.
line.
What? You don't know who I
Yeah.
hit?
No, well, but no, we can start relaying that to local troops. So one dragon is down.
Yeah, it's something like that. So that's the
Fuck
second
the
battle
dragon.
round.
Volred's down.
Yeah. second battle round ends.
Sala hears
with-
that and she's like, "Yes, fuck him.
with that.
That's my boy.
That's my
The
boyfriend."
The third battle round happens, and the southern flank is there. They move in. But Sala, you can hear Ustenia wants to go now. She wants the charge to happen. She can see the Hussars coming around to try and crash into the flank of the infantry as they're slowly backing away, trying to continue to slow them down. Are you following? The horn of Utesh.
That'd be more like
I mean, that is a charisma bonus.
No, come on. The horn of Utesh is kebabs. Kebabs.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna close the door.
Somebody throat singing in the background. That's what
Yeah.
it's.
Stenia just starts singing in the background. Oh, here we go.
So in 20 minutes, both units can make that distance because they're cavalry. They're very
Charge,
quick. They're
man.
in charge. There's a charge happening there. There's a charge happening there. Muskets are going off with the infantry, but it's not a decisive thing. It's kind of they're in a delaying action, so there's no rolls that need to really be made. They're kind of just slowing up them. In the center, things are happening. Okay, so these guys start backing away. They're being pushed back. All of the unmodified troops are.
Oh, by the way,
Starting.
Red Nurgle, I'm sorry, I just killed Toothless again.
I'm gonna go with you killed Volrid again.
Okay.
Or at the very least, you maimed him.
I mean, he's
Okay,
falling from
so-
the sky. That's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
So what happens? So what I'm gonna need, because there's a couple of things that could occur here. Mog, the infantry in front of you starts falling back. They're being pushed back along the line, and that opens up an area for the finally on the field Hussar unit that have just been delayed upon delayed. And this is also the trenches are helping a lot for the infantry in the center because it's making them resist and pulling back. But the Hussars now have an open area to come through. Your archers see this and they start firing. They start unleashing volley.
Yeah.
What are you doing to help them?
How far away are they?
They'll get to you by the end of this battle round. Like they'll be there. Like if they are not delayed or something happens, that you're going to be in melee.
Can I throw a fireball and try and scare the horses and trying to get them to break?
Okay, what's the spell level of a fireball?
Powerful motherfucker.
Well, the minimum is a 3, but I'm gonna throw it at 4th level.
4th level. Okay, so you're adding 4 to the 1 that they already get a bonus for, so a +5 to their roll.
Horses are afraid.
what
of
is your-
elephants, right?
Yeah. Also, what's your casting modifier?
My casting
Intelligence, isn't it?
modifier. Yeah, it's
Yeah, but you're-
intelligence.
Abilities.
Oh, so Midge, you weren't joking about that rope burn. That looks nasty.
Yeah, I've got a lot of classes.
I've got a
on,
+3 to intelligence.
Ooh, tasty.
Okay.
So that's +8.
Just give me a sec. +8 total. That's a 4 they rolled. So that's a 12. And that's a natural 1 for the Hussars.
Yes!
That's a natural 1 for the Hussars. So, hold on.
Is this another 10 points?
So yeah, that's a 10 point. That's a more than a 10-point difference.
These poor hussars.
Morgan, Rivallon, mentally fist bump.
Yeah.
So this is
they're
a
awesome.
so this is a moment. So this is another moment. This is a tide of war turning to the death. The Hussars, they're pushing out and out of their line. You see their commander coming through. He is driving hard, hell bent for leather, pulling with him his personal guard. And you see, for a second, all of the regiment see him going forward, and they follow. Damn the expense. Arrows are flying around. They're falling and falling. But there's one tipping point.
A fireball
Mon
coming.
casts a fireball directly in the center. Seeing this moment of decision coming, you hit and strike the enemy commander, the center, all of his bodyguards around him.
Little note, I'm gonna drop out at this point.
All right.
Alright,
Yeah,
well,
we're
See you
all-
later. See you next
Alright.
week, Atari.
Everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next week,
Yeah.
guys. Have fun.
And they disappear behind a wall of
Hold
fire.
on, I'll get backup cam in here.
Cool.
They disappear behind a wall of fire. And with that, seeing their commander smote from the field of battle, and all of
Reduce
his
to
lieutenants,
atoms, if you would.
the hussars break as a coherent unit and start falling back. No longer effective in the fight.
Congrats to Mog for being the first person to kill a unit in this battle.
No. Rivallon did. One of those
Yeah,
dragons
Rivallon-
is
yeah,
gone.
Dragon
That's
is
true.
gone.
That's true. But an actual
Yeah.
like frontline combat unit will
I was
give.
about to-
I-
that was
I'm
about
more
to
scared of
give a bad
dragons.
way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And the
Horses
hussar-
versus archers is not good.
Listen,
The
I've played enough
hussars
Cold War to know that's a
in
bad
a
time.
charge of the light brigade moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cease to be. Cease to be.
I've played
Cease
enough
to
Total
be.
War to know
Well,
that's
that's-
going to go bad.
That's got to hit the enemy muskets pretty damn hard. They've lost their flanking power now.
They have, but they were already in the. They already their action this time was just to push your infantry back. That's why they had that. But in the center, I need Isaac. I need Sesh. You both need to roll, providing whatever you're going to provide to your bonuses.
Okay.
I want to break these guys. I'm gonna give a 5th level spell.
+5. Okay.
So I'm giving it a +5. Because I can buy back a 5th level spell as well as a sorcerer. So I'm giving one of my 2 5th level spells, and I'm hitting them, like with. I'm just dropping a dawn in front, and like just like as they try to like.
Orbital strike.
Yes.
Well, think about it. They're carrying gunpowder. You get it hot enough.
It'll explode.
Well,
We'll
dawn
see.
affects their constitution, so it's like
Yeah.
I'm.
So you're doing
burning them
that
from the soul.
5th level, so it's a +1, +5, +6 total on there. What's casting
Wow,
modifier, by the way?
Modifies charisma, so plus. Do you want my spell attack bonus, or do you want my modifier, like my charisma modifier?
Modifier. Charisma.
So 4.
4. Okay, so +9.
I'm giving
this
a +9 this turn.
And they get a +1. Ooh, wow. The lines are locked. They got a 9. They got a flat 10. They got a flat 10. You didn't beat them by more than 2.
I mean,
Well, you've
if I
held them
didn't-
there. You've held them
Wait,
there.
so we rolled a 1.
Yes.
Oh, damn.
I have a question.
You didn't break. Hey, if you didn't put that in there, there's a good chance you were going to have a break.
Yeah.
I have a question about that though.
Yes.
So I have the ability to change a roll by a modifier.
This
Choose
isn't
one of them
technically a
back.
roll happening. This is because that's a character making a roll or something like that happening.
Yeah.
This is more of a. This is an abstraction, so we can run a mass combat in less than
Yeah. Okay.
10 hours.
7
So
or
kind of-
10 sessions later, we're still here.
Yeah. This is supposed to be a very quick mass combat system. So that
It's
happens.
working. You should write a book about
yeah.
this, actually. You should
Yeah.
write this up.
Sesh.
You can sell it. So,
Be a leaflet.
yeah, just be
All
elite.
made
Yeah,
last
like
time.
whatever you sell it. Like,
Drive
sell
for
it.
RPG, just a
Yeah,
Yeah.
sell it for a buck or 2.
3-page.
Yep. So, Sesh, what do you want to do?
So, Roach, could I? I'm either. I have 2 options here. One of them is I can use my medicine to attempt to keep as many people up and fighting as possible.
Throw him back into
or-
the front in the meat grinder.
Oh yeah, just like listen, you're not dead
Yeah.
yet, soldier. Get back up. Or
Heroes
be-
never die.
yeah, basically I could be Mercy or I could be Reinhardt, and I could be like, I will take the brunt of this fight, and I will stand at the front line, and I will make these
It's up
men
to you.
fucking earn every inch they get. Which
Up
I
to you.
think the
What do you
second
want?
one is decidedly more Sesh's character at this point. So I'm going to be the front. I'm going to be the stalwart. I'm going
Alright,
to be
give
the
me your strength.
bulwark here.
What's your strength modifier?
4.
4. Okay, 4 plus the one they've got plus 5 to this roll. That's a 6.
Okay.
These guys get so that's a 10 total.
No, it's not 11. I'm adding a
That's
5.
11.
Oh yeah, you're right. That's an 11. That's an 11, which actually works out because you have that was a natural 1. Fuck.
Yes.
Come on,
Fuck
Sash.
it.
That is a natural 1. Fuck. I'm rolling either really good or really bad. Like it's kind of an either or thing. Like anything in
So
the
Sesh is bellowing at these men as she's like swinging, like stabbing the spear forward and like shanking people and
Okay,
leading from the front like any good soldier should.
All right. So, yeah, you get so a tide happens. A tide of war happens in this situation, and that tide is drive a wedge. You see an opening in the center. You see an opportunity. The middle of the battle line is weakening in front of you, and if you take the correct action, it could crumble, driving two forces apart and holding strategic ground in between. So I'm going to need you, because to do this, you need to rally troops around you to drive that center back. I need you to make a charisma check.
Could I
As you're
leverage
trying.
persuasion?
I'll allow it. Yeah,
Okay.
I guess so. Yeah, I'll allow that because there's no real like command test in the system right now.
Unfortunately, that'd be one of the
so-
cooler things.
so give me a persuasion check.
So persuasion. Cross your fingers, folks. Cross your toes. Oh, that was a 17 for a second.
Okay.
18's
Well,
not bad.
18. 18's not bad because you're doing so well. So, okay, you start pushing forward. You have a cadre of the troops that have been around you, and they start dragging more with you, and you start seeing like in the blob that is a frontline combat, like this action starts flowing out at the speed of like word of mouth while people are actively fighting, and the battle, you start moving forward. You start, instead of falling back, you're pushing forward. It seems once their range advantage has been negated, these troops aren't trained for this kind of fight, and they don't have armor. They don't have the years of experience. They are doing what they can, bayonet charge and the like, but
They're used to people taking massive casualties and breaking because they don't know how to handle the tactics that are being arrayed against them.
And you haven't broken through, but you have definitely gotten to the point where they're not getting a bonus to their roll right now.
Sesh holds a spear up and she's just going. She is just
she's going.
fully leading this combat.
Yeah.
I'm imagining 300 and
Oh,
Seth
yeah.
is to the front with the spear, like
Yeah.
hits someone with the shield, stabs someone, throws the spear, runs up, takes someone with the shield, picks the spear back up, and
Oh, Sesh is full on like Spartaning this bitch right now.
yeah.
So Vogue.
I mean, do you want a 7'6" dragonborn lady railing down upon you? That seems like a terrible fucking time.
Well, it depends. Is she
I mean-
railing down upon Ustinia?
I mean, I'm sure Ustinia wouldn't mind that, but you know.
Because
Listen, there's
anyone
a
else,
reason-
no.
there's a
But
rea-
I
there's
think
a
he's
reason
lying there
Ustinia
going, "Come on,
is-
come on."
Yeah.
I had to just stop myself from saying something that would probably get me removed from Twitch.
Well, you know what? You can say that at the end of the session.
So Vogue loses his role. Vogue loses his role and he drops back. The defense does not succeed, and he has to pull back from the line as troops start pouring in around.
What's that infantry doing on the extreme right flank? I mean, apart from absolutely fuck all that.
They got-
away.
They got pushed back.
Yeah.
They got pushed back that round, pretty hard. And the archers are currently their action because they're getting orders from Vogue, and kind of their general action is just to herald and try and slow things down, which is why the infantry you're fighting is getting limited movement. So they're not able to pull around as quickly. Vogue did not have a moment of desperation or a tide of war happen. He just fell back because he lost by quite a bit there, but not by 10. So that happens, and now we go down to the south. Now, unfortunately, this was right when this is where in Estonia, but so Sala's gonna have to take this for this action.
I'm
so-
assuming you can just add Ustinia's strength or something like that to this if you wanted to.
Yeah, I could probably do something like that. Just gotta double check.
Ustinia's
these.
leading from the front. He doesn't do the whole, combat command thing. He's like, I am here to fuck people up.
Goes in for a charge with Sala. So his unit's gonna get a plus.
Oh, that must be terrifying. Can you imagine being like
4.
Ustinia, Sala, and then this giant flank
So
of
that's
just
9
knights.
plus
Knights.
4.
Yeah.
9 plus 4 is 13
13.
versus that Hussar unit. who
It
rolled
is what
a-
what this is, because he's wearing a leopard as well. This is the winged hussars hitting a standard hussar.
Yeah.
and
then
they
the
did not
Ustinia survived.
and they did not succeed their roll to spot them beforehand. So this was completely unknown attack right from the side. This was infantry charging downhill. So they rolled a 3 versus the 9 that Ustenia unit
So
rolled
3
plus
versus
his 4.
13.
Yeah, so it's a 10. It's a 10. Barely.
Even when he's not here.
Hey, listen, it counts, right?
Even he's not here. And the applicable one here would be, look out, sir.
Look out, sir. Shit.
You're about to have your head removed.
Well, what this is in the maelstrom of fighting that's going on in the center here, that's going on with this cavalry. Sala gets too much forward, and she is in risk because she actually rolled fairly low on her units. Rolled at risk of being cut off. He sees this and charges forward to rally her unit and bring them back around and hit them again unexpectedly. And he's going to go ahead, and I think that's just going to be a straight strength roll because he's just pushing on through with his stuff.
I mean,
I'm
you're
gonna
probably
force that
quite
roll.
angry about this, if that helps.
Oh yeah, probably. I'll go ahead.
Rivallon is mind messaging him, going, "Don't you let her die! Don't you let her die!"
Just gonna let her die. And they succeed, driving the Hussars back from the action and keeping Sala's unit in coherent command, and they are pushing them kind of further away from the action. They're not able to complete their encirclements, so the Hussars were going to push back that way. Just keep them occupied, keep the delaying action with the infantry there on the road going, which is what I think Ustenia wanted in anyways. We generally want. And that's the second battle round over.
This is fun.
Or that's a third one over. Now we're on the fourth one. Yeah.
This is exceptionally fun. Good job.
Why didn't you do this before?
Because he's had
I had
time
this-
now to work on it.
No, I've had this worked out with the grand battle thing. But you just weren't directly participating in a combat role. You could have done this if you had stayed with Vogue and partaken in the campaign. Why is there always a gnat? Right when I.
You need to get one of those bug zappers and put them in the corner of your room.
Okay. Well, no, Duke would mess with it, and then I'd feel bad.
Oh, true, yeah, true.
He'd
Put it in the top
he'd
corner.
fuck around. He'd fuck around. And he'd find out.
Fuck around. He'd find out. You little shit.
So, because of everything you've done, the delaying action in the south continues to happen because they're able to just maintain that. Though it actually technically also slows down one of your units because they have to kind of walk. They have to get around that. So they're not able to extricate themselves fully.
Okay.
That
I was gonna
position.
say, could they have moved up and then formed a new line between those two hazards?
Well, they're just kind of pulling back. They're on autopilot. They have an order
Mhm.
just to delay, and that's what they're trying to do. They'll make it over the next time, but that's the problem. The action going on with Ustenia and all them in the south continues happening. The dragon is seeing their commander be taken out, continues to fight with Rivallon's regulars in the center of the battle. They're at this point they're actively fighting you, so you see the plasma bursts coming down from the dragon making passes, but the strength of the defenses holds. They're not able. They'd have to hover in the center to put one straight down through the defenses, but you're heralding that. You're making them not able to stay in one spot. They're volley firing. 600 men volley firing straight up, and it's causing trouble for them. Up here in the north, this infantry is going to go back into the fight because they're not in contact, and
Because they're not little bitches.
the archers are going to try and they're going to try and retreat back from the north a little bit, keep stopping them from moving. The ones in the south, they're in a good position still. They're not threatened yet, so the archers I think are going to hold in the center, and Vogue's going to try to hold that roadway from breaking.
I am going to ask Vogue if he would like me to turn around and try and take out the unit behind me. I want us to engage with him directly.
Yes, if you would like, he would appreciate that.
Do we get an attack roll on that dragon?
Yeah, I'm just telling you what's happening right now, and then we get into the individual actions.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just went straight past it. I was like, I want to shoot that.
Damn it! I want to shoot.
No, I get it. I get it.
I want to shoot another dragon out of the sky.
Okay, so here's what. So we'll actually do that first because everything else kind of maintains because they're locked in right now. So, in the fort, or I guess at the farmhouse, the farming complex, are you just continue to add your decks to their roll to help your men? So that is a +4, right? +4.
+3.
+3 for the rifles for the regulars, and then +2 for that, so it's a +8 onto whatever roll they get. That's a 2, so that's 10 total. And the dragons get a +2. Dragon, that is a 5.
7.
So
7 versus 10.
Versus 10. So beat them. It's more of at this point, it's trying to find a chink in the armor. It's trying to find a way to break this position because this threatens their attack on the line. They've gotten distracted. Also, Volred's not there anymore to direct them, so they're kind of just actively fighting here. So it's more of a back and forth. There's no moment of decision. There's no tide to allow you to get a clear shot or to influence like that. But nothing's going wrong or going particularly great. It's kind of more of a stalemate right now for your position that's happening. But they're not able to come around and attack from the rear, so that's good going on right there. So Mog, you and your archer detachment, what do you want them to do? Right now, they're still kind of given the order to just kind of delay movement, but you're not seeing the enemy having an opening to kind of move at this point. You could direct them to try and focus their fire on a singular area or something like that. Like they have the range for it.
You could turn around and help the southern guys. Maybe they seem to be having.
You could do that. You could pivot to help
I was
with the
thinking
delaying
that
action.
pivot and do, or what were you thinking?
I was thinking if you can do some serious damage to that flanking group of muskets.
This one.
Yeah, the one to the bottom. That one literally underneath your hand. No, go up. One, down one. That one.
Okay.
And then next turn, pivot.
Okay.
Yeah, because they'll be a lot closer to you next turn, so you can pivot and immediately get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to move then. And it also means you can start falling back across the road using the farmhouse as an anchor point.
Yeah.
Assuming I take out the fucking dragon next turn.
Assuming you take out the fucking
Which you
dragon.
will. Let's just say you will.
It wasn't a great roll for your guys.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't a great roll.
The 2 and +8.
A 2 is still a 10 for you guys.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty
But
good.
if I can get say a 9 or something or an 8,
There's a
Then
chance.
it's
we get that chance of that
Super duper.
dragon
The
immediately
tide.
going out again.
Changing the tide of war. So,
changing the
you're
tide
wanting
and
to...
taking out the driver.
Yeah, so what
So-
I'm going to do is spend a 5th level at the musket group that is to Isaac's left and down.
Closest to you.
Left and down.
Closest to me.
Closest to... Okay. That one that's
Um,
trying to get around the line. Yeah. Okay. So +5 to
Yeah.
the roll.
And basically it's going to be a synaptic static, so I'm going to try and confuse the enemy and sort of make them turn on each other, because that spell can cause confusion if they fail it, sort of thing.
Right.
So that's what I'm thinking about.
All right. I go ahead and roll.
Big brain on Mog.
+5. That's a 10. Plus
15
5.
total.
15 total.
Yeah, they
Jeez.
rolled a 10. Ooh,
Come on.
that is a 4.
11.
That is a 4. They get a +1.
So that's
So
still
right,
10.
Still a 10.
Just 10. Barely.
Well done, baby.
Let's go. Good job,
Let's
Red.
do this,
Barely.
Fuck
Yeah,
him
let's-
up.
And there is no better way to describe this than the decision behind the lines. Suddenly, the fighting's broken out, and you're behind them. They're facing the opposite direction. You hold their flank, and you unleash a massive volley. You direct your troops to unleash a massive volley. They weren't ready for it. They didn't realize the Hussars had broken yet. You take them by surprise. I'm going to need you to... I'm going to need you to go ahead and... I need you just to roll a d20, and the unit's going to provide a bonus for an intimidation on the enemy to break them.
I have a bonus to intimidation because I'm an orc.
If you have a trained intimidation, or if you have a number, what's your intimidation? Because if it's
intimidation, it's +5 because
well, it's 5, then you can roll this, and they can and they're gonna there's a DC for this, so
Let's
go
go.
ahead and,
Go on. You can roll it.
roll intimidation check.
I use my 11. That's the best one I've got. No,
So that'd be a 16.
16.
No.
I can possibly
You
hopefully
can roll
do
higher
better.
than that, I think. I will say Rari's has probably faded by now.
It has probably faded now.
It's 20 minutes of combat round, so at the end of this combat round with 4, it will be the end. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck! Should I use the 11?
Well, hold on. They're rolling. Okay. They're being actually roll that with advantage. You're attacking from the rear.
Yeah. Or at least they feel that you're attacking them from the rear.
Yeah.
Oh, my stream just went.
Hang on. Give it a second there. Major stream. Let me refresh the page for you.
Fuck's sake.
You're good. You're back on. No, you're gone. You're gone.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you're gone.
You're good. Gone.
You're gone.
You got.
Completely offline on Twitch.
Rival's still going, so it's not a
Yeah.
Twitch thing, I don't think.
Okay.
See, this is the great thing about having better internet. I can have the 2 streams open and it won't matter.
Must be nice.
It's fantastic. I would highly recommend it, Roach.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be my internet because I'm still
You're here. Yeah, it's a Twitch
It could.
thing.
It could be a Twitch thing. Maybe there's a demarcation between 2 servers farms that you're streaming to, like a difference. Like
to connect to server. Yeah, I can't. My Twitch RNTP's gone down.
if Rival's still on though, then
I'm
he's
still going.
connected to a different. Then you're connected to a different server that's still out.
There's 2
Different-
UK servers.
Yeah,
so I'm
different
good.
places
Yeah.
in the UK.
So you got it. One of you rolled badly for that. Just like these musketeers who rolled poorly. So
More poorly than me?
My bro was on.
yes, actually.
Woohoo!
They didn't have a big bonus to this, especially because they had previously seen one of their units get hit by Dawn pretty hard nearby them. So they're generally the morale is starting to tick down on all these guys as the close combat.
They were supposed to break sooner than this. It was supposed to be a whitewash, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be easy, man.
Yeah. So yeah, they break. The volley to the rear was unexpected enough that the troops that get hit go down, but also the officers weren't expecting it, and they break, and they didn't break a lot. Like it wasn't a huge break, but they did pull back from the line as they retreat. They have fallen back there. Okay, we got that. Sesh, let's do you. We'll go down the line
Okay.
here. Sesh,
I'm gonna try and big brain this, Roach.
are you trying to support Vogue?
So what I'm
Is
going to
that-
try to do here, right, is I'm going to try and convince the men who I've already got like in this
Driving the wedge.
in this wedge to keep going, while I
Try and
take
dri-
some of them. Yeah, while I take some of the men who are leading up the rear and basically split two different ways, and then lead from the middle.
Okay, that's going to require basically you're doing a command thing. So for their role, you're providing your charisma bonus for this.
Okay, so that is. Could I?
It's just because of the way you're saying it. It's just going to be your charisma. You're trying to weigh the.
It'd be a
You're
3.
trying to.
It's a
Yeah,
3.
so it's a +3 to the roll.
Yeah.
Plus their +1, so it's +4 overall to their roll. This is a complex action. You can't really provide a lot of bonuses to this unless you had like some pretty hefty. Like
I mean, I was going to try and leverage survival because it's a.
Nah,
that
it
wouldn't
wouldn't
work.
really. It wouldn't really
Obviously not persuasion. 'Cause I'm
9.
not just trying to persuade them. So it's a 9 plus a 4. Which
No,
is,
it's 9 total with the
9
bonus. They
total.
rolled a 5.
Okay. That's fine. That's not bad.
It's not bad. Versus a 4 plus 1, 5.
So it's a
you
4
beat
beat.
them by 4. So you beat them by 4. So like you don't see an opening. There's not an opening here, but the wedge holds. Like the momentum is starting to slow on them. That like the enemy have been able to reform some kind of bayonet walls, and they're trying to like essentially like at this point like pike push. You like a very short pike push happening in some of the fighting, and you're trying to come around with a second unit to hit Vogue's assailants, but the lines are a little bit more fluid and they kind of see you coming, so they kind of catch you as well. You beat them, so they're not winning the fight, and
Will Vogue
you
get a
kind of
slight
are.
notch because
He'll
I'm
get a bonus.
engaging?
He'll
Yeah,
get a slight
I'm engaging
bonus.
his units. Yeah.
He's not being technically he's getting attacked by 2 units to his 1, but he's not. That's not going to count for this next one. So I'm going to roll Vogue because that's kind of important for the next big thing.
Mhm.
We're just gonna do that. He gets a plus to this. That's an 8 plus 2, which is a 10.
Okay. Good job, Vogue.
Straight 10. That's a 9 plus 1 is a 10.
Oh, it's a 10 and a 10, so
Oh
it's an exact
God,
meet.
it's another stalemate.
Yeah.
It's another stalemate. He's holding. He reformed his line, and they're starting to. They've formed it back. They've gotten into new trenches now at this point. Or well, actually, they're not really in trenches, but they're holding their line in front of trenches, which is causing the musketeers to kind of piecemeal over. They're trying to find ways of attacking. It's funneling them down the road essentially for the attack, which is negating their advantage in numbers right now.
And slipping out of those
Isaac.
trenches would suck. So
Yeah,
I want
Isaac.
to. I'm going to, with standard in hand, rally these 2 units next to me. So the one I'm attached to and the one to the left of is like, sons and daughters of the champions. If we win today, we win the world. And I want to try and crush this left flank here, because they've already retreated 1 unit. I want these 2 units to hit this one, so then we're free to go and help Vogue.
Okay, so you're not helping Vogue with your unit. You're just going full in on the left to try and break the left before that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Technically, you outnumber, so instead of just getting the +1, you're getting a +2 because you outnumber them.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, I'm going to say since that's happening, you can either use a persuasion or just your straight charisma because you're essentially trying to rally.
Okay.
the
Well,
unit.
let me check what's better. I would probably take. Oh, it's exactly the same. I'm not changed in
Yeah.
persuasion. So
It was basically just if you were proficient in persuasion. Or not.
I'm.
So what's that? That's a plus.
Plus
4?
4.
Plus 4, so 6 total. That's a 7. Plus-
total or roll?
No, that's a 7 plus 6, so you got
13.
a 11.
13.
Or 13.
13.
Fuck, yeah. 13. 13? That's a 2.
That's a
That's
10.
11. That's a 10. That's a.
That's a
fate.
10.
You got one!
Okay.
You got one, Midgy!
That's a fate.
I got a-
Okay, funnily enough, we're going with this one. Tide of War. Capture the standard. You spot a standard bearer fighting on the front line. surrounded by foes.
Standard and
If you
standard.
slay his champion, you can take their colors and demoralize the enemy.
Okay.
So I
have
need you-
a thing.
So basically, you're going in. You're going in. You're fighting this other standard bearer. He has just his blade and the Dominion flag he's holding. What are you doing?
So I've got my wand and my standard. I'm a warcaster, so I can cast spells in this combat.
You can. So what? So what do you do? So what are you doing?
Does he look wounded?
He doesn't look great. Like he doesn't look like he not necessarily wounded, but very worn. Like they've been in
Okay,
melee combat for almost a half hour at this point.
I wanted to say, is there any specific wounds on this person because I can do more damage if they are?
Let me just high low, high or low.
High.
I mean, we've all
No.
played Capture the Flag, haven't we?
Yeah.
They're not
No,
wounded.
he doesn't look wounded, but he looks worn out. He looks like he's been in active melee combat for a long
want
time.
Okay. I want to essentially run up to this guy and inflict wounds on him.
Inflict wounds. Okay.
I
What's the?
wanna essentially magically choke slam this man.
All right. Roll the All right. Roll. He's got an armor class of 12.
Isaac is totally
He's an armor class of 12. He has 30.
So I have
HP.
a +10 to hit this.
So you can't miss unless you roll a 1.
Yeah.
Oh.
I hit.
That'll do it.
You hit. You inflict wound on yourself. By the way, you're targeting yourself right now.
I'm
you
not
might want-
targeting anyone right now because there isn't.
It says attack 25 at Isaac.
Isaac.
Hit.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's
fair.
not kill yourself.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Um,
So I need you to. So just go ahead and roll the damage. He's not wounded. So you just roll damage.
no, they-
Oh, that's
25
painful.
damage.
That is painful. Hold on.
That's stingy.
I'm just gonna roll a dex check to see if he drops the standard. You do it and you take the standard. They see this. The enemy. They see you. Dude,
Can
what are
I-
you doing? Yeah.
Because now I've got, so is what I've got with the standard. I've got the one that's like shining with light. I'm gonna, so I've inflict wounds. He drops the standard, and I'm gonna rip it, throw it into the air, and hit it with a firebolt, so it burns.
Totally fine. You do that. They see that. Totally fine. You see that in this unit, the morale finally breaks, and they break from the field. They can't. They start like little bits and pieces start retreating. 1, 2s, and then others start seeing that, and it just becomes an unmitigated wave. And I'm just gonna roll morale on the one that they're gonna be rolling through, just to see if they also break. That's a 1. They break 2. So,
nice.
they were teetering. They were trying to regain. They were trying to do a rally next round, but they didn't get it in time. So they had people retreating into a wavering unit. We've all played Total War.
Yeah.
A broken unit breaks the other unit, and you two just melt away from the field. Which just by the way, that means we've seen 1, 2, 3. Okay, the last one we're gonna do for this, because that's the end of your battle round that happened. That's the one that the battle round is Ustenia and Sala's unit in the south. They are actively in combat and they're trying to kill this force. They're no longer holding them up. They're trying to actively kill this force. And I'm just going to roll Sala and Ustenia. Ustenia has a +4 to this. Sala has she's using her dexterity, so she has a +4 to this. So that's a 9 for Ustenia, and that is a 10 for Sala.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Go on, kids.
Go on.
Do it!
Cavalry.
And then
Cavalry.
the Hussars roll 3 +1.
So 4.
So 4 versus a Sala who got a 14, and versus Ustenia who got a 13. So
Sala gets the
Sala gets the
so
10.
that's one loss. That's another loss out of 2 for the Hussars, which is enough to.
Oh, they're also
break
at
them
numbers, so
from the
they
field.
both get a +1 as well, don't they?
Oh, they do. Yeah, so that's even
So
worse.
they both got
Uh,
it. They both got it.
Yeah.
They both got it. It's already enough. If they lost 2 combats, that's already enough for them to break. But they've but a tide of war happens, which is another thing that can happen. So a tide of
Two
war,
tides of war.
two tides of war. We see which one is more applicable to this. Let's
Is
see.
slaughter one of them? Because it should be for this one.
To the death. To the death. They start pushing out of the lines, and they finally double envelop this unit, riding around them, these hussars, and start cutting them down, start breaking them one by one, reducing them to a mere shadow of themselves before they start seeing hussars drop their weapons and put their hands up and try to mercy, like they're just trying to mercy as lances and sergeant at arms and axe head, this everything going. It's like a dervish. A whirling dervish of combat occurring in the south, and it breaks the hussars completely. The few that don't die surrender or break into the hinterlands of this of the countryside. So that happens. And the funny thing is, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That is enough.
Enough?
But you see. Closing up the rules for this because they're no longer applicable. You see.
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
With the death of the hussars, with the slaughter of the left flank of the musket line in the north, the death of a greater agent of the Dominion from the skies.
He's dead.
He fell like however many feet. That didn't kill him.
He fell a
killed
shitload.
him,
And
babe.
he killed a shitload, and he did not. He did not succeed his dex check to actually teleport, like do the thing where he like teleports immediately before hitting the ground and like surviving. So he took what was it? He took 9d6 of damage. And then
In that case, when he's falling,
you would know,
Rivallon
wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would know. Rivallon screams at him, "Vorid, know when you're beaten."
And then crunch.
Hey, that's why you yelled at me when I was trying to catch him on that dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
that's
irony is
true.
not lost on me.
That's true. The irony is not lost before he immediately dies. Before he dies.
Ah, fuck.
But you see, because no matter where, even if units have not fallen or are broken from you, death is all around you. Casualties are mounting. Blood is upon the field, and you see bubbling from the field. Blood starts to bubble, and on the hill, overlooking the field, you all are drawn to a light that begins to grow in the distance, and you see a party, maybe 20. Usteni definitely sees this, and maybe because of the timing, it's just before your connection ends. Usteni can see it clearly. At the top of this rise, you see a party of 20 what look to be priestesses, all chanting, have formed a circle, and in the center is a regal-looking queen figure, a descendant. One that you've all one that Mog has definitely seen before, as she
woman in
held
the
up
Picture.
as she killed the king, or the emperor of the Kalan dynasty, in your vision. And you can see blood start coming to her, start to seep uphill, bubbling, pooling. Even the musketeers in front of you, it's like combat ebbs away as they see this, and people just start watching. They're transfixed by it. Even the dragon gets kind of a little bit further away, so the effective range is past that. It starts watching. Because some of the guys in the defensive fort, they can't see over the wall, so they're still firing up there. But the blood starts pooling in, and you start hearing. It's odd. You start hearing, if you ever hear like a guitar string being tightened far too much, it starts to scream slightly but it's more like reality starts to scream in a certain very tight area, and it emanates across the valley, echoing as it goes. The day gets darker. And you see the woman, through Estenia's eyes, the woman melts into the blood peacefully. And a few seconds later, a new form grows from the blood. And I have a picture of this actually, but I don't have a token of it yet because I knew we weren't going to get here in time. But I'm just gonna put it in here. I'm just gonna put it in here. Just let me get her here. But you see a woman who is pale of face, with blood still dripping from her garments, in a older looking armor and garb, a sword at her side. Can I get image here? Just give me a second. I didn't think we'd get particularly this far. I thought maybe we'd get right to the end of this, but I want to, since we're already here, I definitely want to put it in.
It's because we've got all those tides.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Honestly, yeah, you did. It's hard to kind of kill.
Probably went out like a bitch.
It was a potential to happen, honestly, because he went in. He did not.
He's a glory hound.
He's a glory hound. He had disadvantages on a couple of things.
You ran into our most defended position
with our
And
best
a Rivallon,
range
and a
combat.
very angry Rivallon.
Yeah, it's just like their best unit overextended into our best unit. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
It was a good strategy. It could have, if that didn't happen, they'd be attacking from the rear, from the air, and it would have been really hard for you to do that. Okay, got it.
What is it called?
I'm putting it in the Tuesday general.
In the handouts.
Okay.
In the handouts, because I don't have it as a token.
Oh, she's gorgeous and
what the-
terrifying.
She's gorgeous. It's a pity I'm going to have to kill her.
Oh, yeah.
That's Rivallon's type of woman.
No, my type of woman is riding my horse right now, and
See her
Oh,
rise
she's
from the blood.
amazing.
The file is called A God Reborn. I am not ready.
Shit.
Who did
Damn.
that art, Roach? Because that is lovely.
It was something I found a couple of years back that I knew was going to be used. I've been trying to get a commission based off this work more directly, so it matched a little bit what I thought, because I wanted her to have a long dark hair instead, but it kind of works. It's good. It's something that's from one of those like collections of fantasy inspirations on Imager that you see. There's like 300 image inspiration posts kind of thing. So
yeah,
kind of worked. It worked. I do like the fact that there's a battle going on behind her, though. It also kind of...
Vulrin did not survive first contact with the enemy. Thank you, Anto.
Funny enough, what we were saying, the golden BB.
Yep.
I just like the Anto. He's got Vulrin's a UAV. Salah has entered our final form. It's time to slay some dragons. In Rivallon we trust. There was only one way this was going to end, when you give Rivallon a clear shot. I hope Salah saw that.
She did.
Technically, she did.
Yeah, technically.
With the eyes.
And yeah, as the form collates out of the blood, wreathed with a blood red cloak still dripping, we're going to end it here for the day because we can't go any further.
No.
As
I
you
know it
see
has to end here, but I don't want
as
it
you
to.
As you see the Reborn, Zagul, watching from afar.
There's just a cacophonous shit over the internal mind connection.
Well, fuck.
Yep.
How far away are they, just as a note?
Now it's a party.
We kind of worked out that each square is about 300 feet, so they're just to the left of the hazard, to the left of the road to the north. So, I can put down.
They're way away.
Right, none of you get ill next week.
Yes.
No, No.
Nobody here is allowed to get sick
Right
next
there.
week.
That little circle is where the party's at.
Okay.
They're watching you from a rise. So that's kind of they were preparing. They were waiting for the trigger, which was 4 units of 5 units, but a greater unit, which was the dragon, counts as 2. So it was either Volred, or one of you, or the like big NPCs like Vogue or Sala would count as 2.
Or the other dragon, I assume, would count.
Or the other dragon. Oh, actually, no. The dragon. It's not the dragon. It's the
Volred.
It's
the
Volred.
greater-
It's
the
like
Volred
Volred
was
was there.
counted
Yeah.
as 2. But it was 5.
So,
Roach, that was
forward,
ladies and
fantastic.
gentlemen,
It was, yeah.
Before
So,
we
that was-
before
Yeah,
we finished,
yeah.
that was fantastic.
friends.
I'm now starting to wish we'd stayed with Vogue and had a few more battles like that.
Yeah, I mean, we could always do this as a sub thing, and
I don't know if it would work as
one-shots,
well.
like-
I don't know if it would work as well as like a thing repeatedly. It's very interesting the first time. It's still like it's literally it's all scrib notes down of a system that's kind of just
I mean,
working.
we develop the system. It could be really cool. But with that, friends, it is time for us to say goodbye for what is possibly the penultimate week of Sleeping Giants Reborn. So join us next week for at least the climactic beginning of the end. As always, thank you to Commissar Roach for writing and DMing this campaign. You can find him at youtube.com/Commissar Roach. I've been joined by the wonderful Surely Mikey and Utari Onzo. You can catch them at their Twitch handles of those names. And I'm joined as well by the fantastic Red Moogle and Rival Zone from Rival Zone Gaming. You can catch them on Twitch and on YouTube at Rival Zone Gaming. Honestly, go check them out. And I, of course, have been Midgeman. We'll be back for the beginning of the end next week. Fingers crossed. It's about to get scary. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.
Bye.